You've probably heard that when a burglar decides which house to target, they start by casing it. This means that they watch the owners, find out information about their routine, and determine the best time for entering their home. By the time they're ready to commit the crime, they already know for sure when there won't be anybody inside or when the owners will be distracted. One of the tricks thieves use to gather information about your routine is so simple that you may not even give it a second thought. But the next time you hear a quiet crackle under the sole of your shoe, stop and check what it was. The chances are high that you'll find yourself face to face with a crushed cookie. If that's the case, it's your clue that something has gone terribly wrong. The thing is, this is a rather effective tool criminals use to find out if you've left on a trip or when exactly you come home in the evening. A cookie is such an innocent object that people don't usually give it much thought, if they even notice it at all. You arrive home, step on the cookie, make it crumble, and automatically reveal all your secrets to burglars. They know for sure if the house is lived in and can also figure out the schedule of its owners. Things get even worse if you're away from home. The cookie under the doormat remains whole, thus alerting criminals that the house is perfect for a break-in. So, if you find some treats under your doormat, that's pretty bad news. Someone is interested in your house and watching it. It might be a good idea to notify the police or take some safety measures. Now, the ploy with a cookie is just one of the numerous tricks used by burglars. One more sign that can alert you to the fact that you're being watched is white pebbles left near the house or in the driveway. This means that a criminal has already visited your home and marked it as worth entering. Another reason why thieves may have left the pebbles is to indicate that your house stays empty during the day. So, if you're walking along the street and notice a USB flash drive sticking out of a curb or a wall, don't get confused. You have most likely stumbled across a dead drop. Despite its ominous name, this is a global art project that has borrowed some tricks from the world of spies and espionage. Lots of people who know about this project are happy to be able to put on their black coat and dark sunglasses and go to swap confidential information with others. The thing is that many decades ago, spies had their own ways to exchange secret materials. There was a live drop when spies met in person, but this was often extremely dangerous. That's why a dead drop system was invented. In this case, some loose bricks in a wall in an alleyway hid important documents that had to be picked up later. Nowadays, there are more than 1,500 dead drops all over the world, and the accumulated data on these flash drives reaches 10 terabytes. You can come across a dead drop on any continent you visit, except Antarctica, maybe because there are not so many walls there. So, if you find one, what do you do with it? First of all, it's highly inadvisable to connect random USB flash drives to your computer. You never know what viruses are lurking there, looking forward to destroying your hard drive content. And while risk is a part of the game, don't overdo it. If you're 100% sure that you want to play, secure your computer as well as you can, or even better. Secondly, you can't even guess what information will be waiting for you on a flash drive. Anyone can download videos, photos, or text files, and this has already led to several problems. Speaking of which, have you got a parcel with a USB stick in it? Whatever you decide to do with it, don't plug the flash drive in. Such cases have been more and more frequent in Australia. The police warn people that hackers have invented a new tactic. They drop unmarked memory sticks to letterboxes. It'll probably come as no surprise that these devices contain malware able to mess up your computer. They evidently rely on human curiosity and, in all honesty, it pays off. People can't fight an inexplicable desire to check the contents of a mysterious gift. As a result, almost half of USB sticks received by post get plugged in. After that, people start having serious problems with their laptops and computers. For example, fraudulent media begins to stream service offers, or computer viruses harm files and programs on a PC. So, no touching the free flash drive, okay? Now, you leave a shopping mall, your office, an airport, and go to the parking lot to find your car. You unlock it and put the key in the ignition. When you're about to start your vehicle and drive away, you see something strange on your windshield. Is that a $100 bill wrapped around your wiper? Oh, you could certainly find a way to spend this unexpected gift. But do you really think someone accidentally put money on your windshield and forgot all about it? Beware, this is nothing but a ruse. Because as soon as you get out of your car to get a closer look at this mysterious banknote, the owner of the banknote will take action. They will get into your car and drive off at a record-breaking speed. Let's admit that no one would turn off their ignition and take their belongings with them if they got out of their car to check the windshield for a C note. As a result, in under a minute, you'll lose your car, your wallet, and your documents, and you'll be left stranded in the parking lot. People have recently started to find some article of clothing, like a shirt for instance, lying on their windshield or wrapped up in their wipers. If you ever happen to be one of these people, don't fall into this trap and don't try to remove the object. Just get in your car and drive away as fast as you can from the place you were parked. This seemingly misplaced garment is actually a new con being used by muggers and thieves. It works like this. If you see some random piece of clothing that prevents your wipers from moving or obscures your view, your first reaction will be to remove it, of course. But while you're distracted untying it or trying to get it off, the criminal has plenty of time to jump you. The most common place for this sort of scam is parking garages. They're usually badly lit and pretty deserted, which means there are few witnesses around and plenty of dark spaces for the attacker to lie in wait. Now, if one day you come home and notice some graffiti or markings on your door or house, call the police immediately. Even if it just looks like a teenage prank or a simple scratch, it's better to be safe than sorry, because burglars use certain marks to tell other criminals different things about your house. For example, something resembling a Roman numeral 2 means that the homeowners are rich, so the place is a great target. On the other hand, a crossed circle tells other burglars that there's nothing valuable to take from the house. Kinda makes you want to mark your own house like that. Now, a long horizontal rectangle divided into 4 parts means the place has a big aggressive guard dog. A triangle divided into 2 parts by a vertical line tells criminals to hit the place only at night, while a reversed one says that a house or apartment is free after dinner. And something looking like a combined A and K lets their fellow burglars know that the house is always full of people. Hey, did you know there's even a fraternity for burglars who love to steal desserts named Iota Grab a Pie? Sorry I made that up. A new trick being used by car thieves, and that's the trick with a coin. They slip it into the space between the door and the door handle. When a car owner thinks they've locked the door with a remote, the vehicle is, in fact, still open. The coin prevents the lock on one of the doors from working. As soon as the owner walks away from the car, the thief has no problems at all opening the door and driving away. Another trick. As soon as there's some public gathering, a big party, or even a busy day at the mall, car thieves make an announcement over the PA system that a particular car, chosen by them of course, has blocked their vehicle in and they can't leave. As soon as the owner comes out to move his car, a group of guys start to act. They assume, and for good reason, that the person is carrying the key to his car.
What's hiding inside Coca-Cola cans and regular household batteries? Why do magnets affect breakfast cereals? Do crosswalk buttons actually work, or are they just useless decorations? What does that USB symbol really mean? I'm not sure I know the answers to these and similar questions, but I'm eager to learn the truth together with you. Let's find it out. Coca-Cola cans have a secret few people know about. Here's a Coke can. Let's submerge it in a highly corrosive alkaline solution. The aluminum dissolves due to a process known as hydrolysis, and we can see a plastic liner inside the can. It's made from a polymer or epoxy resin, and serves as some kind of a protective barrier between the aluminum walls of the can and the rather acidic soda. Despite a popular myth, household batteries don't actually contain liquid, and if you accidentally cut them open, no toxic liquid will spill. Most of them are dry cell batteries, which are made of electrochemical cells. Those convert chemical energy into electrical energy. Larger batteries often house numerous small cells within them too. Even Tesla vehicle batteries consist of multiple small cells. When combined, they easily provide the necessary voltage. Most toothbrushes have differently colored bristles, but they aren't just pleasing to the eye. Those bristles, often blue, have a functional purpose. They're called toothbrush indicators, and their colors fade as you use the brush. The American Dental Association recommends changing your toothbrush at least 4 times a year. And by getting paler, these bristles help you figure out when it's time to replace your toothbrush. You'll probably agree that there's no better snack than a pack of chips. Some are flat, others have ridges. Is it just aesthetics? Not really. The main purpose of those lines on some kinds of chips is to help with the distribution of spices and seasonings. In other words, all those substances that make your chips taste like cheese are mostly stored inside the lines. Plus, the lines make chips crunchier. Now this one might be a surprise, but some breakfast cereals are magnetic. That's because they're often fortified with iron in the form of a fine powder. Due to the added iron, cereal flakes get attracted to magnets. All this may sound kinda alarming, but in reality, the iron content in the flakes is minimal and doesn't pose any threat to your health. That clear fluid in gel pens is called the ink follower or stopper fluid. The gel in such pens contains pigment particles dissolved in a polymer solution. The main task of the stopper fluid is to be a barrier to prevent the gel from evaporating or leaking out. Without this transparent fluid, your gel pen wouldn't function. The fluid always stays in one position and doesn't get dissolved with the gel. Neither does it move backwards or flow out of the pen. Many pedestrian crosswalk buttons, namely in New York, are placebo buttons. They do literally nothing when you press them. Originally, they were functional after being introduced in 1964, but today, most of them don't affect traffic lights, which are programmed based on the real needs of the traffic flow. Why do such buttons even exist then? It's a simple psychological trick, providing you with an illusion of control. You might have noticed that movie theater seats are almost always red. This choice isn't random, it has strategic importance, which is rooted in visual science. The thing is, red light has a longer wavelength. It means that it's the first color to disappear in low light. It allows the audience to concentrate better on the screen once the movie begins. Such a design choice enhances the viewing experience by minimizing distractions. Speed bumps are crucial for pedestrian safety, but at the same time, they can seriously increase car emissions due to the non-stop acceleration and deceleration they cause. To address this issue, some cities like London are testing fake speed bumps. Those are optical illusions painted on the road. They look raised from a driver's perspective, but in reality, they're flat. Authorities hope that this approach will slow down drivers without having a negative impact on the environment. Soda bottles are always filled in such a way that there's some space between the liquid and the cap. That's because soda contains carbon dioxide. It's a gas that can expand once the bottle's heated. If there's no gap in the bottle, it can break because of the pressure building inside. Also, when you open your drink, the gases go out in the form of bubbles, making the drink overflow. The gap helps with this problem too. The USB symbol, looking like a trident, has always sparked multiple speculations about its origin. One popular idea is that it represents Neptune's trident and symbolizes power and adaptability. But there's also a little bit less exciting theory. A man who claimed to have designed the symbol in the 1980s stated that it was supposed to represent connectivity. The large circle symbolizes a computer, while the attached shapes, the circle, the triangle, and square, stand for different outputs. The design of a tennis racket has a specific feature known as the throat. It's an open space below the head of the racket. This space isn't just for storing balls, it also improves the racket's aerodynamics by letting air pass through. It seriously reduces drag during swings. Speaking of tennis courts are usually built with a north-south orientation. It helps minimize the impact of the sun's position during the game, ensuring that neither player has the sun directly in their eyes. Look closely at a tram's overhead lines, and you'll see that its contact wires zigzag back and forth instead of going in a straight line. That's because all trams have pantographs attached to their roofs. The upper part of the pantograph is gradually worn down by the overhead wire and eventually needs to be replaced. To wear it down evenly, the wire is not installed strictly along the tram's path, but in zigzag patterns. As the tram moves, the pantograph slides along the wire, and it wears down evenly. Those cone-shaped water cooler cups? Their shape is intentionally designed to prevent users from setting the cups down. This allows employees to minimize the risk of spilling water on their desks around various electronic devices. Plus, less material is used to produce cone-shaped cups, which makes the process less wasteful and more cost-effective. It also kinda supports sustainability by encouraging people to drink their water quickly and dispose of their cups immediately after. Most suitcases have 2 zipper pulls, and it serves several purposes. First of all, if one zipper fails, the other can keep the suitcase closed. Even better, having 2 zippers allows you to have easier access to small sections of your suitcase without having to open it entirely. And finally, when you have 2 zippers, you can connect them with a padlock for increased security. Some plastic milk containers have dents on their sides. These dents serve several purposes. When milk spoils, it usually causes swelling and high-pressure buildup inside the container. That's when the dent pops out and doesn't let the jug blow up. Plus, if you decide to freeze the milk, it will expand like any other fluid. And then again, the indentation will pop out and prevent the container from breaking inside your freezer. If you ever had a problem figuring out why fake pockets exist, you need to hear this. The main reason is that if a clothing item has a specific cut or shape, pockets may spoil it. They can alter the item's shape either in the warehouse or already on the retail rack. The solution? Getting rid of the pockets in key areas. Plus, fake pockets are obviously cheaper, and they don't get stretched out. The thermos wasn't actually invented to keep your coffee warm. It was made by a Scottish scientist who wanted a safe place to keep his chemicals at a stable temperature. So, he took 2 bottles, put the smaller one inside the bigger bottle, and vacuumed out the air between them.
Hey, don't look now, but when you make your bed, you also make a cozy home for tiny dust mites. Really? Your pillow, blanket, and sheets seem clean enough, but these little guys thrive inside your bed. They love dark spaces, just like your mattress. Bad news? You can't see them without a microscope, but that doesn't mean they're not hanging out in your bed. So, if you cover them up while making the bed in the morning, they're going to be pretty grateful. Now they have the perfect environment to thrive. One thing these tiny bugs are afraid of is sunlight. So, it's not hard to understand that covering them up is the same as protecting them. If there's sunlight and fresh air, they change location. So if you never make your bed, you aren't messy, you're just health conscious. Most people feel tired twice a day, at 2 a.m. and 2 p.m. But since humans are the only mammals that can delay their sleep willingly, most of us never have an afternoon nap at 2 p.m. If you really want to doze off for a while, be careful. Make sure you do it no later than 5. Otherwise, you'll find it really difficult to fall asleep later, and you'll probably stay up all night. The best sleep you can get is at night, but if you can't help falling asleep during the day, make sure to set an alarm clock for not more than 20 minutes. Another way to overcome that sleepiness is to take a short walk. A glass of icy water can wake you up fast too. Drink it or splash it in your face. Works either way. Some people have tried to conquer sleep, to be productive and not miss out on anything. Leonardo da Vinci used the Uberman sleep cycle schedule. He would only sleep for 20 minutes at a time, but do it every 4 hours. He invented so many things and painted so much. It's like he had way more time than 24 hours a day. One of the drawbacks of this scheme is that it's pretty hard to concentrate on long-term projects. Another great mind, Nikola Tesla, wasn't really into sleeping, just like Da Vinci. He used the same Uberman sleep cycle and never slept more than a couple of hours a day. He claimed he once worked for 84 hours in a row. So, when you don't sleep the whole night, you're about to invent something amazing. Or not. It's true that you should definitely avoid blue light for at least 2 hours before you go to sleep. That means most electronic devices, like TVs, laptops, and smartphones. Blue light tricks your brain into thinking it's still day. That's why it doesn't let you sleep well. If you can't fall asleep without scrolling your feed, you might want to download an app that blocks blue light or check your settings. Most laptops let you do something similar. You can even keep this mode on all day. Your eyes will be so grateful. If you crave sweets before you go to bed, you're not alone. It might feel like chocolate soothes you and calms you down, so it's easier to fall asleep. But watch out for caffeine. It's not just in your coffee. Even chocolate has a small amount of caffeine in it, just enough to disturb your sleep. By the way, there are lots of superfoods besides chocolate that can either boost your productivity or help you sleep. For example, most berries contain antioxidants that help increase motor skills and work wonders for your memory. The darker the berries are, the more antioxidants they contain. Blueberries are a great choice. The time when you eat matters a lot. It's better to avoid food for at least 1 hour before you go to sleep. Monster meals can be too heavy for your digestive system, especially if you're about to lie down for 8 hours straight. If you want to grab some food in the evening, make it light, like a healthy snack, milk, or cheese. By the way, eating breakfast for dinner is really helpful for those who want to fall asleep faster. Bananas, eggs, toast, it's all packed with proteins and carbs. All these things can help you relax and fall asleep. So, Brenner, that's a thing now, I guess. Whenever you have a hard time falling asleep, aromatherapy is here to help. Some essential oils are especially good for sleep, like lavender, peppermint, and rose petal. If you're into citrus, try mixing lemon and orange. You can add just a few drops onto a piece of paper or add them to your aroma lamp. Just remember, those oils are strong. If you tend to get negative thoughts at night and you just can't fall asleep, try practicing some creative writing before going to bed, or start a daily diary. It might help you get rid of some of those downer vibes. When you're calm, you get better sleep. 1 sheep, 2 sheep, this trick really works. If you focus on falling asleep, you're going to fail. If you focus on not falling asleep, like counting sheep or something equally ridiculous, chances are you'll doze off after a couple of minutes. You can also count to 4, 7, 8. This technique helps you relax your body by regulating your breathing. First you inhale and exhale fully. Hold it while you count to 4, then inhale. Keep the air in your lungs and count to 7. While you're exhaling, count to 8. Repeat that a few times. Your body will regulate oxygen and carbon dioxide, trigger the relaxation response, and you'll fall asleep really fast and stay that way all night. Body tension can stem from tense and stressful thoughts, and that can make it really hard to fall asleep. To relax, think about something that makes you happy or something you're grateful for before you go to sleep. When you're relaxed, you fall asleep way faster. When it's too hot, it can be really hard to get to sleep. Stick 1 foot out from under the covers and let it cool off. Once your body feels that cool relief, you'll fall asleep in no time. Another trick you can try is to cover yourself with a slightly wet sheet, but this one's only for serious heat, like you're on vacation at the beach and your AC bugs out. If you feel too cold whenever you sleep, try layering with 2 thin comforters. Air gets trapped in between the layers, keeping you warmer than if you had 1 huge comforter. The opposite works too. Even a really lightweight sheet can add a lot of heat. Bedroom temperature is really important. Yeah, no one wants to get a chill while they're sleeping. 70 degrees is comfortable for most people. If it's too hot, you might end up tossing and turning too much and not get into those deep stages of rest. If you don't want to crank the AC to full blast, try taking a hot shower right before bed. It'll make your bedroom seem much cooler than it really is, and your body temperature will drop just enough. You'll fall asleep as soon as your head touches the pillow. One famous athlete went even further. He created the perfect sleep training bedroom. He recreated a mountainous environment by decreasing the amount of oxygen in the air. That way, his body was forced to work harder and produce more red blood cells. He claims that it helped him increase his endurance and perform better. Now, if sleep is just not happening, try massaging your toes and the arch of your foot for a couple of minutes. It's another great way to relax. In case you can't bend down that far, rub your ears. Surprisingly, the effect is pretty much the same. Gently massage the earlobe, then all other parts of the ear. It has a lot of nerve endings, so if you massage it, it can help relax your head and neck muscles. Time for some pillow talk. Sometimes it's even nice to sleep without one. Make sure your pillow is neither too thick nor too thin. If you like sleeping on your front, you may want to put your pillow right under your stomach. Try it, see if it makes you feel more comfortable. The best pillowcases are made of silk. Your face literally glides on silk, so it won't be all wrinkled when you wake up. Hair doesn't rub against silk either, so you won't have to spend hours pulling all those knots out in the morning. Nighty-night. Pouring milk into your tea or coffee can make a mess if you don't do it the right way. If you want to pour it with the opening closer to the cup, stop right there, turn it to the other side, and then pour. The flow will be much smoother this way, and you won't have to deal with wiping the table afterwards. Hey, I'm bossy, get over it. It's all about the physics of it. If you turn the carton's opening toward the cup, and the carton is full, while the milk's escaping through the opening, the air from the outside will try to get inside the carton to fill the empty space. Since there's only one place where it can do that, the air will push the milk back and disrupt the flow. When you turn the carton to the other side, there will be empty space along with the top side of the carton, and the air will have it easier getting inside. So the flow will be steady, and you won't have that annoying spurting anymore. Now, the handrails are usually moving faster than the escalator itself, because the gear wheels that drive the handrails are intentionally made a bit larger than required. The rubber on those wheels tends to wear off with time, so if the handrails are moving at the same speed as the steps or even slower, then you're riding a rather old escalator. Now, speaking of escalators, and I was, at subway stations with 3 or more of them, the majority will be going in a different direction depending on the time of day. For example, in the city center, there will be 2 or more escalators going up in the morning and down in the evening, and vice versa at the outskirts. This is done to make it easier for passengers to get around. Most people only work downtown while living far from the center, so they go to work in the morning and find more escalators moving in the direction they need. How convenient! If you were ever worried about how the pilots find their way in the dark when landing at night, well, you can rest easy now. There's an incredibly complex illumination system on the ground that helps the crew navigate the airplane. And it's not just the red and white lights along the runway. The lights actually start popping up long before the runway, so that the pilots can easily find their way, and different patterns mean different things, which your captain and their co-pilot know by heart. Every commercial airplane you've been on has only one wing. The first airplanes were called biplanes because they had 2 wings, one on the top and the other going through the bottom of the fuselage. They were connected with struts and wires, which made kind of a box that basically allowed the craft not to fall apart in the air. How thoughtful. It was necessary at lower speeds than earlier planes could only muster, but as the engines increased in power, the second wing became redundant and repetitive. The single wing still serves as a support for the whole structure, though. Going 100 miles an hour on an interstate makes you feel the drive and excitement of speed. Flying at nearly 600 miles per hour makes you drowsy at best. This is because you don't feel the actual speed of anything. You can only see how fast you're moving relative to other objects. The closer, the faster. In a car, everything's close to you, so you see trees, people, houses, witches, porcupines, and other cars zapping past you. On board a plane, everything's so far away that it seems to go at a snail's pace. Now, take a good look at your smartphone. It might never have occurred to you, but its rectangular shape is no accident. And it's actually what you want it to be. Rectangle is the most convenient shape for a screen. It has an orientation, so you can flip your phone all you want and it will adapt. Imagine that with, say, a round-shaped display, you'd have to always turn it in your hands until the top is where it belongs. Oy. Next, it fits into your pocket nice and cozy. The pocket is deeper than it is wide, so a phone longer than it is broad will sit there perfectly. A square or circular phone will be more of an inconvenience. Then again, a rectangle is much easier to handle. It fits in your palm, and it feels better than a circle or a square. And finally, we're used to having rectangular things all around us. Pictures, sheets of paper, books, SpongeBob, photographs. Having round-shaped screens would have been just weird. Still, there have been attempts to create circular and square smartphones, but as you can guess, they didn't catch on. Taking photos in the dark with a flash, you must have noticed your smartphone flashes several times before making the actual shot. Remember those horrid red eyes in old photographs made on film or digital cameras? That happened exactly because the camera flashed only once. In the dark, the pupils of your eyes become larger, trying to catch more light to see better. And when they reflect the camera's flash, the red eye effect appears. With smartphones, the first short flash makes the pupils contract from bright light, and only then the device takes a shot, and you don't resemble a horror movie creature anymore. Oh. There are two main reasons why there are no public bathrooms in the subway: safety and financing. They're ridiculously expensive to maintain, so I guess we won't be seeing many of such cabins where they weren't before. And the second reason is security concern, since there can be no cameras installed in the bathroom and any kind of suspicious activity would go unnoticed. It seems only natural that a vehicle that carries so much more people than a car should have seatbelts, but buses have none, even school ones. In fact, it has to do with several things at once. First of all, in case of emergency, passengers need to get off a bus as fast as possible. With seatbelts on, they'll waste precious time on unbuckling them. Secondly, a bus is a big and heavy vehicle. On the road, there are not many other members of the traffic that weigh more than a public bus. So, in case of a collision, a bus would stop much slower than a car, and even though its passengers will certainly feel the impact, they normally won't get hurt as much. That's also the reason why passengers are allowed to ride standing, too. If your hotel has card keys with magnetic strips, make sure you put your card key apart from your cell phone and wallet. The problem is that card keys are rewritten quite a lot, and they're designed for that process to be quick and easy. So, a fairly strong magnet, like the one in your cell phone, can erase your key card, and you won't be able to get back inside your room. The hotel will surely provide you with a new card, but that's still inconvenient. If you're struggling to get your taco shells to stay in place, use a muffin tray. Flip the tray upside down, spray it with oil, and place your tortillas in the gap. Cook them for around 10 minutes at 700 degrees for the perfect crispy taco shell. Now I'm getting hungry. You? Looking for a lost earring or pin on the floor? Place a stocking over the end of your vacuum and move it over the floor. The small object will get picked up without getting vacuumed. It helps to turn the vacuum on while attempting this. Candle wax that's been spilled on furniture can be removed with ice cubes. Rather than ruining the finish by trying to scrape it off, fill a plastic bag with ice and let it sit on the wax for a few minutes. The wax will then cool and harden, making it much easier to pick off. Crayon marks on the walls are a parent's worst nightmare, but you can use a hairdryer to get them off. Heat the marks for just a few seconds to soften the wax, and then you should be able to just wipe it away. You can use hair conditioner to make that new wool sweater less itchy. Just soak it in lukewarm water with a couple of tablespoons of conditioner and leave it for 15 minutes. Then just dry it and your sweater will be much softer. That layer of bubbles that forms when you add bubble bath to your tub isn't just for fun. The bubbly layer also acts as insulation and keeps your bath warmer for longer. Next time you're getting ready for work, take a closer look at your go-to shirt. Every buttonhole is stitched vertically, but check out the very last hole. It's stitched horizontally, right? This is because the bottom part of your shirt endures the most stress from pulling, as it's where your hips are. So that horizontal buttonhole isn't a mistake. It's put there to stop your shirt ripping as your hips move. Hey, those hips don't lie. That random diamond on your backpack is called a lash tab or pig snout. It's there so you can thread cords through the holes to carry extra gear. Perfect for camping or long hikes. If you put your Chinese takeout on a plate when it arrives, you're doing more work than you should. Much like the paper condiment pots in fast food restaurants, your cardboard Chinese takeout box can be unfolded to create the perfect size plate for your food. That hole in your hollow lollipop stick isn't to prevent choking should it ever be swallowed. It's actually there to keep the candy in place. Excess candy flows into the hollow tube and the hole, which, when it hardens, keeps the pop in place. If it was a smooth stick, the candy would slide off easily. Some skyscrapers have hollow floors that contain nothing but an elevator and some complex machinery. They're called technical floors, and developers say they're there to maintain the building's proper functioning. But it's also a way to get around height limits. Some skyscrapers are given a limit to the number of floors they can have. Because the technical floors are non-residential, they add to the height of the building and make it look more impressive without increasing the number of floors and breaking the building contract. These floors can also help to prevent the spread of fires. If you look closely at an elevator door, you'll notice a tiny hole. This is actually a keyhole used for emergencies or for routine maintenance checks. If you get stuck in an elevator, the technician will be able to get you out of there by using their master key. Salt isn't just used for cooking. It can get rid of tough smells, like this. Whew! Rubbing salt on your fingertips after chopping garlic should remove the smell. It also works on shoes. Toasters have a secret slide in the bottom that can be removed so you can clean out all those annoying breadcrumbs. Now, take a look at your laptop keyboard. There are bumps on the F and J keys, but nowhere else. When your fingers are in the optimal typing position, your index finger should rest on these two keys. The bumps have been added so that you can correctly position your hands for typing without looking at your keyboard. Washing your clothes on a low heat or even better, a cold wash, will make them last twice as long. Drying them on a line, if possible, will also make the material last longer than if you used a dryer. The less you wash them, the less they'll fade and shrink over time. It'll also save you on your energy bills. Blank pages in the books aren't actually made for the author's signature. It's all about the manufacturing process. Books are printed on large sheets, so one sheet can fit 4 printed pages. If a book has an odd quantity of printed pages, chances are you'll get a blank one for notes. Tree cart loops have more functions than you think. You don't want to put your fancy white jacket in a cart next to carrots and Coke. This little hook-like thingy helps organize all the stuff in your cart better, so you can enjoy your shopping trip. Works for me. A good doorknob is one made of brass, bronze, or some copper alloys. These metals have an anti-germ effect. Bacteria spread way slower on them. They also get rid of germs pretty fast, within a couple of hours. There's only one way you can store your peanut butter right. If you place it the regular way, it may get a bit solid before long. The trick is to store it upside down, so the oils don't stay on the bottom all the time and distribute evenly. My dog loves peanut butter. How about yours? Whatever coffee shop you go to, all the disposable cups look exactly the same, only the logo changes. The secret here is the special shape that lets you enjoy your drink easily. The top is always wider, which allows it to accommodate your nose while you're drinking, and the bottom is always narrower, so that anyone can hold it easier, even if the hand is quite small. This width difference also allows the cups to stack. Spoiled milk emits gases, like most foods when they go bad, or me. A classic plastic milk jug has a concave shape on one side, so when the gases expand inside the jug, it expands too, and the concave shape curves out. Also, if you want to save some milk for later and freeze it, the jug will expand when the milk gets solid as well, occupying more space in a jug. Almost all measuring tapes have a metal tip with a small slot on the end. You can use this slot to hang the tape on a nail or a screw to make measurements without anyone's help. Sometimes this tip has a row of sharp points along the edge on one side. It comes in handy when you want to leave a mark without using a pencil. If you've ever tried a Nintendo cartridge to taste, you'll confirm that they taste revolting, leaving a sour, bitterish aftertaste in your mouth. Well, we tried to tell you. They're covered with denatonium benzoate, one of the most disgusting flavors known. Not normally seen in ice cream stores either. Actually, this taste has a righteous function. It prevents people from swallowing those cartridges. Rough edges on the dimes aren't just about design. The coins used to be made of precious metals to show their real value. People would shave off the edges, spending the shaven coins with the same value and melt the edges to new coins. To avoid it, minters added that pattern so people could tell if someone cut that coin before. A triple handle on a jerry can is there to make it easier for two people to carry it and distribute the fuel evenly. Lemons get juicier if you warm them up a little bit in the microwave. The heat softens the frozen membranes, so the juice can flow out freely. The result? More lemonade for you. The expiration date on mineral water isn't about water going bad. Actually, no water can spoil, but the bottle can. Over time, it starts leaking some chemicals that aren't quite safe. Okay, here's a science project to try. Tonic water can be fluorescent in UV black light. It contains quinine, which makes it both bitter and glowing. The color of plates and cups can affect your food perception. A group of 57 volunteers drank hot chocolate out of different cups, but most people claim the orange cup hot chocolate was the best. Red color plates are cool for those on a diet. It looks alarming, so you end up eating less.
You're heading to a supermarket to get a few small items. The self-service checkout is way faster than waiting for people to unload their huge shopping carts.
Analyzing now.
But this loud voice from a machine, commanding over and over again, spoils all the appetite.
Analyzing now.
I have some good news for you. You can turn it off. Take a closer look at the screen. You'll probably see a volume button at the bottom. Use your finger to mute the annoying polite voice once and for all. Not all machines have this hidden option though, but it's definitely worth checking out. Usually, a sunflower oil bottle has this weird inner cap. Most people remove the entire top layer and throw it away. But there's actually a better way to use it. Turn the removed element inside down and put it into the bottleneck. It will make a great dispenser, and you'll never spill more oil than you wanted in your salad. Planning a picnic with your friends in the wild? Forget about the classic picnic basket. We got it all wrong. It's not a basket, but a bucket. Yep, it's way better to put your picnic stuff into several buckets. This will help evenly distribute the weight among all guests. And when you find a nice spot for your picnic and get all the stuff out, turn the buckets over and use them as stools. When the food is over, put the buckets into each other to save space on the way back home. Your toast is getting burnt, but you don't have any kitchen tongs at hand? Take 2 identical forks, put them together tine to tine. Stick them tightly with a rubber band, and voila, your tongs are ready. Ever wondered what this double bottom under the Nutella lid is for? There's only one way to find out. Here's a brand new Nutella jar. Let's remove the white carton circle and then peel off the foil. Surprise! There should be a little knife to cut the gold foil cover. Now you know how to get access to your favorite guilty pleasure without scratching your hands. Don't throw away the glass jar after you're done with Nutella. It can turn into a candle holder or a lantern. Wash it, paint it to your taste, add some decorations or lettering. Glue a decorative rope around the neck of the jar. Set a candle inside the jar or put string lights inside it. No one will ever guess that it used to be a Nutella jar. It'll be our secret. Have you ever wondered why Ritz crackers have ridges? You can use them as a safe knife for cheese and similar soft products, like cucumber, ham, and so on. Just roll the cracker as if it were a tiny pizza cutter and press. Now all the ingredients fit on your cracker perfectly. Enjoy your snack. Do you have one of those old baking trays that you never use but still hesitate to throw away? Good news! You can recycle it and make a gorgeous frame for a painting or a picture. There are 2 ways to do so. Degrease the surface of your tray and attach the image to the bottom. In this case, the frame will stick forward. Or you can flip the tray upside down, and the edges will hide behind. Hang this construction on a wall or put it on a shelf. And feel free to use metal paint to give your frame an appropriate color. An old cutting board can make a great frame for a mirror. Use double-sided tape to attach a matching mirror to the surface of your board. Make sure the mirror is firmly glued. And now you can hang it on a wall using the board's handle, or put it on a cabinet and lean it on a wall. Don't forget to wash and dry the cutting board before beginning this DIY. We don't want the mirror to smell fishy. Another superpower of a cutting board is keeping wires tangle-free. Wrap some string lights around an old wooden cutting board and put it in your closet. The next holiday season, you'll have it completely untangled. A hairdryer can make a great mini vacuum cleaner when you need an emergency cleaning. Cut a plastic bottle and dry it. Put a layer of fabric on the fan of your hairdryer. Then place the fan in the plastic bottle bottom portion. Fix the bottle and attach it to the hairdryer using a plaster. Turn it on and you're ready to clean the mess. You can use a retro gas stove grate to hang your indoor plants. Attach it to the wall with screws or nails. Now you're ready to hang flower pots, string lights, and any other decor items. If the color of your stove grate doesn't match the interior, you can always fix this using spray paint. Chopsticks and wooden ice cream sticks can also turn into a beautiful panel that will decorate your interior. Glue the edges together to create a grid. You can also put together your name or any other word you want out of sticks. Then wrap the grid around with string lights and enjoy your decor. Don't throw away wrinkled kitchen foil. It can help to sparkle up your day. Crumple identical foil balls and glue them over a glass, a mirror frame, or even a book, and your life will immediately become more glamorous. If you need to sharpen your dull scissors, take aluminum foil and crunch it up into a ball. Sharpen the edges of the scissors right on that ball of foil. To speed up your ironing routine, place sheets of tinfoil under your ironing board and then put the cover back on. The tinfoil will reflect the heat. The iron will get hotter and will do the job much faster. If you struggle to organize all your jewelry and lose your favorite items from time to time, use a sponge to store it. Just make a few cuts and put your shiny little friends inside these cuts. They will sit firmly in the sponge and won't fall out or mix. You can also use a sponge to create an organizer for your jewelry. Find a cute box, cut your sponge into matching pieces, and put them inside the box. Use glue or tape to attach the sponge to the box, and enjoy your new jewelry casket. You can easily make chocolate-filled strawberries at home. Take a plastic syringe, fill it with chocolate paste, remove the leaves from a strawberry, and stick the syringe into the hole from which the sprig usually sticks out. Squeeze chocolate into the berry, and it's ready. You can use the same technique when you bake eclairs, apples, or want to leave a chocolate note on a pancake to surprise your significant other in the morning. Wooden pants hangers with metal clips can be handy when it comes to hanging curtains or a backdrop for your photo shoot. If you need to hang curtains but don't have any special hooks, attach several plants hangers along the entire length of the curtains, and then hang this construction on a ledge. An old metal tea jar serves as a mini shelf for small things in your kitchen. Apply double-sided tape to the jar and stick it to the top corner of your cabinet.
Now here's a trick. Instead of putting the box grater vertically on top of a plate, put it horizontally, with no plate underneath, of course. This way you won't risk scraping your knuckles because only your fingertips will eventually touch the grater when you reach the end of the process. Also, it gives the grater more stability, when otherwise you'd have to balance the grater or even hold it in the air with the other hand. When you're done, or when there's just too much grated stuff on the bottom wall of the grater, simply turn it on its side to pour the contents into the bowl or plate. Flowers in a vase would stay fresher for longer if not for the bacteria that breed in the water. Since copper has some antibacterial properties, dropping a penny into the water will help keep the microbes at bay and let you enjoy your flowers for that little bit longer. An easy way to check if your bed linen has dried completely is to put a small mirror in between the layers for about 5 minutes. If the mirror has steamed up when you pick it up, it means the sheets are still a bit damp. Let them dry until the mirror stops getting cloudy. A damp bed is a lovely breeding ground for fungi and bacteria. Okay, I'm in. If you have a not very healthy habit of eating in front of your computer, you'll be surprised at how much crumbs and grime there is inside your keyboard. Now, you can just turn it over and shake it vigorously, of course, but that's not very good for any piece of tech, you know. So instead, take a Post-it note and run its sticky part over the keyboard. It will collect the little pieces of trash like magic. Even a better way to do it, though, is to take a slime and stick it to the keyboard, then take it away, squeeze it, and stick again in another part. The slime will fill the entire space between the keys, and its sticky properties will let it gather every little bit of garbage. Separating egg yolks from whites is easier using a plastic bottle. Break the necessary number of eggs into a bowl, and then take an empty plastic bottle and squeeze it. Hold the bottle over the yolk and release. It'll pull in air and the yolk together, leaving the white in the bowl. Repeat with the rest of the yolks and you're done. And that's no yolk. If you're tired of spitting out the stones when eating cherries or want to make a cherry pie, push the stones out with a straw. Also, many garlic presses have a special tool on their handle that can be used exactly for that. Cleaning a blender can be a nuisance if you do it manually. Instead, fill it with hot water and add some liquid soap or detergent, then run it for about 10 seconds. Rinse it afterwards, and it's clean. Plaster walls can crumble, flake, and spread dust all over the floor when you hammer nails into it. Cut a strip of masking tape and stick it to the place you want to hammer a nail in. The tape won't let the plaster crack and crumble, leaving the hole neat and clean. Small scratches and dents on wooden furniture can be removed with some toothpaste or a walnut. For toothpaste, rub a pea-sized amount of it into the scratch until it's gone, then wipe the leftovers with a damp cloth. For a walnut, take a half of that brain-shaped nut and rub it into the dent. Then rub the area with your fingers and buff it with a soft cloth. This will help the wood absorb the oil from the nut, making the scratch sealed and gone. The sticky residue on jars left after you remove the stickers won't be easily removed by water and detergent. So, take some vegetable oil instead. Soak a cotton pad in it and wipe the sticky surface. Let it sit for a while and then wash the oil away together with the residue. If you can't comfortably reach the wick of a candle with a lighter, hey, take a stick of spaghetti. Light up its end and you'll get a burning stick that's easy to use for hard-to-reach places. Now, next time your razor blade's getting dull, try rubbing it backwards on a pair of jeans for regular upkeep. Not while you're wearing them, of course. Make sure you keep the blades dry, too, or even kept in mineral oil. That'll stop them from rusting. Keep all those jelly, ketchup, peanut butter, and mayo fresher for longer in your fridge by turning the contents upside down. This creates a partial vacuum inside the container, helping prevent mold growth. Storing ice cream upside down will prevent freezer burn, too. To bring your permanent marker back to life, simply put a few drops of rubbing alcohol into the felt material inside and shake. Once the felt absorbs the rubbing alcohol for a couple of minutes, the marker will be almost as good as new. Now, don't keep throwing away lettuce that goes black too quickly. Covering it with a dry paper towel and then placing it in an airtight container will help it keep fresher for much longer. This goes for any leafy greens you've got leftovers of. That sharpish bit sticking out of the cap of your favorite cream is there for a reason. These tubes are usually sealed with foil, so unless you love breaking your nails trying to open them, just flip the cap over and push. Your bobby pins might not stay in place if the grooves aren't facing the right way. They should always be on the bottom, close to your head. Still coming loose? Well, put a squeeze of hairspray right onto the bobby pin before you put it in your hair. Now, your cotton rounds pack has those strings on it, so you can hang it on a handy hook in the bathroom. But there's no need to loosen and tighten it back up every time. Check out the bottom of the pack. It has a perforated line. Tear it open carefully, and you're good to go. 2 zips too much? Maybe, but they come in handy as a clever anti-theft device. Just lock them together. Now no one can open your backpack. Don't have a lock on you? You can also tie them together with some string or even just a paper clip. Anything to slow those pickpockets down. That tiny little button on the back of a shirt collar is used to hold your tie in place. Hey, you don't want your tie trying to escape back there. Shoe manufacturers care about their customers, so most running shoes now have a special anti-blister system pre-installed. Sounds intense, but it's basically just that extra hole on top of your sneakers. Make a loop with the extra hole, inserting the lace backward. Cross your laces and put them through the loops. Now pull the laces down to lock your foot in place. Now run. Yeah, go ahead. Car headrests are all about comfort, and detachable headrests are all about safety. If you pull the headrest out, you'll see 2 sturdy metal bars. If you ever get locked or trapped in your car, you can use the bars to smash the window and get out. If you've got some pesky parsley stuck in your teeth, try this tip. It can be hard to get it out with loose floss. You need more tension, so just tie it in a knot. It's not an accident that soy sauce bottles have 2 spouts. The sauce is liquid and it flows out of the bottle pretty easily once you turn it over. Most Asian food lovers have spilled it at least once in a lifetime. That's why nowadays, restaurants prefer serving soy sauce in special bottles that have 2 spouts. This design allows you to control when and how much sauce will come out. Just put your finger on one spout when you pour the sauce through another. If you press your finger tightly to the spout, the sauce will stop flowing, and if you remove your finger, it'll flow again. And don't forget to ask your server, "Hey, wasabi!" Alright. A hair straightener is an excellent tool, not only for treating your natural curls, but also for fixing crumpled money or documents. You can also use a regular iron for this purpose. Just make sure you don't turn on steaming mode, otherwise there's a risk of damaging the paper. Hair bands are good not only for getting your hair done, but also to open a glass jar with canned food. Your hands might slip on the tightly closed lid, and if you don't open the can from the first attempt, your palms tend to get sweaty, making the task virtually impossible. So put a hairband on the lid to fix your hand and make your grasp stronger. A simple rubber band will do as well. Now, it's time to take my sweaty palms and go.
See you Saturday! You hang up and realize you have 2 days before the main family get-together of the year. Your shopping list is ready, so you head to the largest supermarket in town. You follow the list to the letter, grabbing everything you need as fast as possible. The cart is full of fruit, vegetables, dairy, meat, fish, bread. Well done you! 1 hour later, you get back home and proudly hand in the shopping bags to your grandma. She takes out the items one by one and frowns more and more at each of them. Turns out the fish and meat you picked aren't fresh at all, and those bananas and greens won't make it till Saturday either. Grandma says she'll save the day. You make a good snack to not go shopping hungry. Now you won't buy the stuff you don't need. Then you get in the car together to do it all over again. Smart shopping means cruising the perimeter of the store where you can find all the fresh and healthy stuff. Fruits, vegetables, dairy, meat, and fish. They normally reserve the center aisles for junk food, so you decide to skip them altogether. Your first stop is the produce section. Grandma says you should spend the most time here. And it's a good thing you arrived before lunch. Most grocers get fresh produce when they just open, or later in the evening before they close. You reach out for packaged tomatoes, but Gran stops you. Prepackaged fruit and vegetables are usually more expensive. Plus, they don't let you check each item. A good ripe tomato can weigh double as much as an unripe one. It should have smooth and firm skin and smell like a tomato. No! Don't put that poor bruised thing into your cart. Bruises on produce are a perfect breeding ground for bacteria. Try to find firm cucumbers that have no blemishes or soft spots. The best ones are dark green. If you see yellow spots, it means the thing is overly ripe and will likely taste odd. The same goes for peppers. They must be of intense color with no stains. Now turn it upside down and count the bumps. 4 bumps means fewer seeds and better taste. 2 to 3 bumps mean bitter taste. The stem of a fresh pepper is always green, firm, and crispy. Take these potatoes with sprouts out of your cart right now. Go for the firm and smooth ones, without the wrinkled skin, soft dark spots, or cuts. Pick only green lettuce with no holes or brown edges. The brighter its shade of green, the better. Moving on to fruits and berries. Gran explains that a ripe watermelon will come with a dry brown stem. This one with a dark yellow must have been resting on the ground long enough to get sweet. The same's true for melons. The ones with a yellowish bark is sweeter, as it had received enough sunlight by the time they picked it. Check out the stem of the bunch before taking those bananas home. The stem must be green to light yellow and not turning brown. Only take single bananas if you want to eat them right away. They survive longer in clusters. Never judge a mango by its color. Instead, gently squeeze it. A ripe mango will give in a bit, and it will also have a fruity aroma at the stem end. Smaller fruit is normally sweeter, but that rule doesn't work for strawberries. Different sorts come in different sizes, so bigger ones can be yummy too. Their ripening ends once they've been picked up, so go for bright red berries with fresh green leaves. Those would look dry and wilt if they had picked the berries a long time ago. That lemon won't give you much juice. It's pale, which means it's an older one. This firm, unblemished one with smooth skin will be way better. It also feels heavier, and that's a good sign as well. You're shopping for a big event, but otherwise, you'd never buy too much produce at a time. If it's fresh and organic, it won't naturally last too long, and always opt for fruits and veggies that are in season. They'll be less expensive and of better quality. Next stop, honey. This one looks odd to you as it has those crystals at the bottom of the jar, but Grandma explains it's a sign of freshness. It's normal for honey to crystallize when the temperature drops. It's also a good sign it looks opaque. It means it's more natural and healthy and not pasteurized. You check the list and realize you still need some bread. You already know the best option is the whole grain kind. You pick it up and study the label. Made with whole grains won't do. This one that says whole wheat flour is good. The fewer ingredients, the better. If you can't pronounce the name of the additive, you don't want it in your bread. It shouldn't have artificial flavors, colors, or preservatives. You lightly press on the bread you just chose. Bingo! It goes back to its original shape, which means it's high quality. If you see your finger mark on it, it could have been previously frozen, or the baking process went wrong. You move towards the canned food section, and Gran jumps in your way. She's sure canned foods are bad for your health, as they contain a huge amount of sodium. You convince her to at least study the labels. You should always pick canned foods that don't have too much salt or sugar in them. The ones preserved in water or their own juice are the healthiest, as they have fewer artificial ingredients in them. You find some tuna packed in olive oil. The package is perfectly closed, so it's all good. You know you should never take a rusty can. It can be dangerous. Okay, looks like you've got everything you need, except for meat and dairy. You know you should always grab those last. They can spoil without a fridge if shopping gets too long. You make some room in your shopping cart to protect your fruit from raw meat juice, just in case. Red meat should be of dark color. Purple, red, and brown are all good. Pork should be the shade of light blushing pink. It should smell good. It can't be pungent in any way. If you see many fibers, it must be some tough meat with a strong flavor. Beef tenderloin won't have any grains because it's super tender. White flecks and streaks of fat throughout the muscle are another sign it's juicy and tender. If you aren't planning to cook meat straight away, pick the one with the latest best before date. You can still eat it safely after that date, but it tastes better before it. Dirty marks within the packaging are a red flag. Someone must have handled it with dirty hands. If the chicken you're about to buy has skin, it should be paler than the flesh, not yellow or light brown. The edges mustn't look dry. The cuts must be smooth and uniformly sized. If it's not butchered well, there might be small joints and bones in your lunch. Any chicken that has been in the container for more than 2 days should better stay on the shelf and not in your cart. Gran picks up a fish and stares it in the eye. She explains a good fish will have protruding ones with shiny black pupils. The skin of fresh fish should be silky, not sticky or dull. Squeeze the fillet. If there's a trace of your finger mark on it, it's no good. The final stop of the day, dairy products. You should reach for the back of the shelf to find the ones with the most distant expiration date. The same rule works for frozen foods, packaged foods, and eggs. Stockers locate the newer ones behind the older items. Grandma recommends choosing pasteurized milk. No raw products will land in your cart today. When milk goes through pasteurization, they heat it up to fight off disease-causing bacteria. It doesn't take away the nutritional value of the product, so no worries about that. When picking the best yogurt, pay attention to the label. The more words you see on it, the better. 3 basic ingredients are enough to make it work. The rest should be preservatives and sugar you don't need. Live and active cultures is something you want to see on the ingredients list. Don't forget to get some cheese. Not this one though. The soft kinds like ricotta, cream cheese, goat cheese, or shredded cheese shouldn't have any mold on them. It can penetrate inside easily. Some mold is fine on hard cheeses. You can carefully cut the area around it and still eat it. Yay! You're done with shopping. Time to go home and cook. Put oil-absorbent paper on a clean, smooth surface. Then, squeeze your toothpaste evenly on the paper blob by blob. Sprinkle it with baking soda, and when the toothpaste pieces solidify, put them in a small portable box or bottle. When you need to brush your teeth in the wild, just take one blob, put it in your mouth, and use your toothbrush as usual. If your condiment collection takes up too much space in your picnic basket, use some straws to create mini versions of your favorite spices. Cut 1/3 of a straw, pinch one edge with forceps, and melt it on fire to seal the edges together. Then, use a kitchen funnel to pour the spices into this mini bottle and seal the second edge using the same technique. Sign the name of the spice and place it in a small box. When your shoes get wet in the wild, find some stones of a suitable size. Put the stones in a pot with water and boil them. Place the heated stones carefully inside your shoes. You can use kitchen tongs or a ladle to carry the stones. The shoes will soon get dry. If you don't want to boil the stones, here's another way. Take a plastic bottle, pour hot water inside and wrap the bottle with toilet paper. Then place the bottle in your shoe and wait for 30 minutes. It should be enough to make them crispy and comfortable. If you're eating soup in the wild, you can cut an emergency spoon out of a plastic bottle. Cut out the shape of a spoon with a knife in the place where the walls of the bottle meet the bottom. And don't forget to add a comfortable handle. Garlic and onions can be easily peeled with a metal bottle cap. Speaking of metal caps, you can open a bottle with one of those using your wedding band, metal spoon, or another bottle. Went fishing but forgot your knife at home? Use a carrot to peel the fish. Cut the carrot at an angle and rub the fish scales with 1/2 of the carrot. The scales will easily come off. Punch holes in a cork of a plastic bottle and screw it tight. Then cut off the top of the bottle and turn it upside down. Place a rolled napkin or toilet paper in the neck of the bottle. Then put some coal, grass, and stones and pour turbid water into this handmade filter. Later, you can boil this filtered water and drink it if you get thirsty in the wild. Melt a bar of soap and draw it up into a syringe. Squeeze the soap into an empty pill pack and seal the template with tinfoil. Use one of the tiny soaps to wash your hands anytime. To make your grilled patties juicier, press a groove in the middle of the patty and put ice on it. Wait for the ice to melt and fry as usual. You can make a camping washing machine using an ordinary bucket with a lid. Cut a small hole in the middle of the lid and insert a plunger handle into it. Pour the laundry detergent into the bucket. Put in clothes and water, close the lid, and rinse the clothes with a plunger until the stains are removed. If you can't pick out gum stuck on your clothes, put a piece of ice on it, and the gum will tear off easily. You can also put your clothes in a freezer for a while and then tear off the gum. Detergent bottles are usually too big to take on a camping trip. Take a sheet of thin paper and spread the detergent evenly on the paper. Cut the paper into small square pieces and put them in a waterproof box. When you need to wash the dishes, just put one piece on a wet sponge. While walking in the woods, collect tree branches, about the width of a finger. Bring the branches home, wash and cut them into equal pieces. Put them in a bowl and glue the sticks together in the shape of the bowl, using hot melted glue. Your stylish handmade fruit tray is ready. If the lid of the tin just wouldn't open that easily, try this life hack. Wrap the lid with adhesive tape. Then, gently pull it open. If your kettle is full of scale, Pour in some water and put a piece of lemon inside. Boil the water, then wash the kettle, and the scale will be gone. In case you get hungry in the wild without a fishing rod, try another way to catch some fish. Take a large empty plastic bottle, cut off the top part, and turn it upside down. Tie the two sides of the bottle mouth with a rope. Crush some instant noodles and put them inside the bottle. Throw the bottle into the river. This trap will surely attract fish. Make matches that will never get blown out in windy weather. Wrap the matches in napkins and dip them in melted wax. Wait for them to dry, and voila! You have matches that won't go out. You can use a basic razor to crumble chocolate into your ice cream or coffee. Take an even number of jars and paint them your favorite color. Glue them to the surface of a wooden chopping board from both sides, and then put a rope on the side of the chopping board as the handle rope. Your brand new tableware storage box for outdoor camping is ready. Nitrogen in hair promotes nutrients. Put the hair you lose every day in a flower pot and your plants will grow stronger and healthier. Place several instant noodles in a baking dish. Add a thick layer of cheese. Sprinkle it with all the seasoning bags from the noodle packages. Then, pour ketchup and other toppings like pepperoni or mushrooms in the gaps between the noodles. Add some more cheese and bake your meal until the cheese melts. Super delicious noodles are ready. Instant noodles are also a great fire starter. Take clean disposable paper cups and use a needle to poke out decorative rows. Then, use a knife to cut a small cross at the bottom and put the cup on a lamp belt. Repeat this with other cups until your own unique lamp belt is ready. You can also paint the cups in your favorite color before placing them on the lamp belt. Egg packaging can be used to store sauces. Dip the root of the rose in honey, then insert the root in a potato and trim off the branches. Plant this potato in a pot. This is how you can grow your own roses in a pot. Brush your shoes with toothpaste and a toothbrush, and they will get as white as your teeth. Use a hula hoop and a bathroom curtain to organize a bathroom anywhere in the forest. Attach the curtain to a hula hoop with hooks and tie it to a tree with a string. You can also use this tip to build a temporary dressing room. If you don't want to take the entire package of tape on a hike, wrap the necessary amount around your lighter, and then just cut off a piece when you need it. If you need to move a heavy sofa, you can put banana peels under the legs of the sofa. Furniture will slide on the floor easily. After eating a meal from the lunchbox, a lot of oil stays on its surface. To make cleaning easier, squeeze some detergent into your lunchbox, put a piece of absorbent paper, add some water, cover the box and shake it back and forth. And then rinse it with water. The lunchbox will get clean immediately. If you urgently need slippers, but you have only 2 soda bottles on hand, squeeze them and stick your feet under the labels. Your stylish slippers are ready. You can use a jar to make a candlestick or a mini stove for cooking. Make one vertical cut in the jar, and then make 2 horizontal cuts on the top and on the bottom. Open the 2 sides like doors and put a candle inside the jar. If you need to cook food, just put a bunch of small sticks inside the jar and light a fire. Then, put your pot on top of the jar, and don't forget to feed the fire with new sticks until the meal is ready. Put dry foliage under your sweater. It will help keep you warm. To make thicker matches for lighting a fire, wind 5 matches tightly in one bundle with a thread. Then, dip the matches in melted wax. Wait until the wax hardens and put the matches in a box. If the zipper on your backpack or tent doesn't slide well and it's difficult for you to zip it, you can use wax. Take a candle and rub it along the entire length of the zipper.
Over 40 billion Oreos are made every single year. It's the world's most popular manufactured cookie. The geometric design stamped into these cookies has the Nabisco logo, the symbol of European quality, surrounding the word Oreo. William Tournier created the chocolate cookie design we see today back in 1952. Headphone jacks might become a thing of the past because of wireless technology. But if you've seen one, you might have noticed the rings at the base of the plug. 1 ring means single sound playback, 2 rings represent stereo sound in the left and right ear, while 3 rings means you've got stereo and a microphone built in. Now, the iconic orange, red, purple, yellow, and lime green rings of Fruit Loops hide a deep secret within. They don't represent different fruit flavors. All those rings are the same fruit flavors blended together. The colors are just for show. The E in Dell's logo is at an angle because the founder, Michael Dell, wanted his technology to turn the world on its ear. A compass uses magnets to point to the magnetic North Pole, but it's not really north at all. The North Pole of a compass magnet points toward the north because the north and south attract. Earth's south magnetic pole is near the geographic north, while the North Pole is near Earth's geographic south. Confusing, isn't it? Those little red spots you sometimes see after you crack an egg are nothing to be worried about. Tiny blood spots can be caused by a small rupture in the blood vessel of the hen as it was laying the egg. Eggs with these blood spots are safe to eat, but that spot can be removed if you want. It won't affect the taste of the egg. That's comforting. Ketchup is a word taken from many cultures, like Chinese, Malay, and Indonesian. It originally meant a pickled fish sauce. Catsup is also an acceptable spelling used. However, ketchup is the most popular way it's spelled these days. Airbnb's logo isn't a bent paperclip as it may seem to be. Bello, as it's called, for belonging, means more than that. There's a person's head, the location symbol, and a heart for love. All joined together, they make Airbnb's iconic A and symbol of togetherness. E120 or Natural Red 4 food coloring, aka carmine, is made from tiny beetles. It's been used to color anything from cakes to candy to even drinks. That shine on candy also comes from bugs. This time it's the Indian female lac bug. The beetle leaves behind a substance that is scraped from the trees to be formed into dry shellac that gives that glossy look. The Mozilla Firefox logo isn't a fox at all surrounding the planet. It's a red panda instead. The name Firefox is the English translation of its Chinese name. Those maintenance covers in the street are around for safety reasons. In past civilizations, like ancient Rome, manholes, that's what they were called back then, were square-shaped slabs of stone. Unfortunately, these were prone to accidents. If they weren't placed properly, a square cover could slip through the square hole diagonally. Ow! Placing a round cover eliminated this problem. A circle cover won't slip inside because there are no angles. A tomato isn't technically a vegetable, but a fruit. Banana trees aren't related to palm trees or trees at all. They're herbs. Banana is considered an herb because it never builds a woody trunk the way a tree does. Instead, it forms a succulent stalk, like lemongrass or its cousin ginger. You can call them berries as well. The Golden Gate Bridge color wasn't meant to be the orangey red that it is today. The bridge's original color was suggested to be many other colors, such as black with yellow stripes or even candy cane to make it visible for passing ships and aircraft, especially in the frequent San Francisco fog. But when the steel arrived covered in an orange primer to protect it from rust, the architect preferred the international orange color, and it stuck. Those legs on the back of keyboards aren't an ergonomic design to help your wrists sit better. Using the legs out for too long can tire and hurt your wrists, plus slowing your typing down. The hinge legs are just there to help you see the letters and numbers better if you don't know how to touch type. The color of a chili pepper reveals nothing about its taste or heat. The smaller a chili is, the hotter it'll usually be. The heat doesn't come from the seeds, as believed, but the white membranes that hold them. Hidden within the Toblerone logo of the mountain is the image of a bear standing on its hind legs, about to eat that yodeler over there. No, not really. This is because bears are a big part of Bern, one of the biggest cities in Switzerland, where the founder created the triangle chocolate treat. Toblerone is also a play on the founder's family name, Tobler, and the Italian word Torrone for honey and almond nougat. The space below a cup of noodles is there to protect the noodles during transport. This technique is called a middle suspension. Not only are they protected better in their styrofoam cup, but it also helps those noodles soften more evenly and quickly. Now, even though you might have thought that the hole in the barrel of a ballpoint pen had no purpose, it does. It's called a venting system, which helps the ink flow more smoothly. This way, an even amount of air pressure is created inside and outside the pen, allowing the ink to flow into the point easily. One of the most recognized logos in the cycling world has a hidden item in its famous logo. Inside the Tour de France name, a cyclist hides in the O, U, and R. Those metal brackets on the top of the nozzles in gas stations have a unique design put into place in case of accidents. If a dodo accidentally forgets the nozzle is still inside the gas tank and starts driving away, the magnetic brackets separate without damaging any part of the gas pump. Wendy's logo is designed off of the daughter of creator Dave Thomas. It's also named after her nickname, but there is more to the logo than that. Wendy's collar spells out the word mom. While unintentional, it became something to mean a homey feel more than any other restaurant out there. Finding the right lane to be in while driving for your exit can sometimes be confusing, especially in a foreign country. Pay attention to the side of the road that exit signs are located. It'll be the lane you need to be in. Some toothpaste has a little seal on them that needs to be removed before you can use them. Instead of peeling back the foil layer, the toothpaste lid has a little spike on the top just for this reason. Tostitos have a secret symbol hidden right in the middle of their name. The two T's in the middle of the logo resemble two people enjoying Tostitos over a bowl of salsa. The salsa bowl is in red and forms the dot in the eye. One of the most recognizable figures in the world, the Statue of Liberty, for 16 years functioned as a fully operational lighthouse. However, the light was barely visible even from Manhattan. In 1901, it was eventually decommissioned as a lighthouse. Tourists could even visit the torch for a stunning view of the city. But an accident damaged the Statue of Liberty's torch in 1916, and it's been closed to the public ever since. The Do Not Remove Under Penalty of Law tag on mattresses isn't put there for the consumer or void your warranty either if you do remove them. In the 1900s, manufacturers used to create the filling with basically anything: animal hair, old hospital beds, or clothing. It didn't matter at the time. Strict laws created the tags to stop recycled materials from being used and sold as new. Good thing. Toyota's symbol is more than just some random rings combined. The three overlapping ovals symbolize the merge of the hearts of consumers and Toyota together. A California sushi roll is made of seaweed, rice, cucumber, avocado, and crab meat. But it's not crab meat at all. Surimi is an imitation crab meat. It's made of white fish blended with sugar instead of crustaceans. The fish mixture is then heated and pressed into shape. The logo for Beats is just a lowercase b inside of a red circle. The circle represents a human head, with the b being the headphones in their shape. All those little black dots around the edges of car windows are called frits. A frit is a painted black enamel that's put into windshields during manufacturing. They block ultraviolet rays and help distribute temperatures between the metal and glass. There are 24 symbols hidden inside the Unilever logo. Let's count, shall we? The sun, dove, plant, spark, chili pepper, spoon, bowl, flower, ice cream, hand, hair, lips, swirl, fish, clothes, bee, particles, packaging, transformation, waves, DNA, palm trees, heart, and virtuous cycle, whatever that is. These represent everything that the company believes in and produces. DNA? Bobby pins are designed so that the zigzag part goes onto your scalp, not the flat part. It gives a greater grip on the hair and skin, making the pin stay in longer. The story that the pins were named after those fashionable London constables called bobbies is not true. I made it up.
Most metallic zippers have a hidden lock inside them to save them from awkward situations, such as an undone fly. Don't leave the zipper handle in an upward position. When you pull it downwards, it automatically locks. It's all thanks to those tiny grooves hidden underneath the handle. Bath foam isn't only for fun or a nice smell. It also helps regulate the temperature. The bubbles keep the water hot, so you can enjoy a bath a bit longer. Anyway, it works for acrylic bathtubs only. Those made of metal lose heat really fast either way. Escalator brushes aren't for keeping your shoes clean and polished. It might be tough to apply wax right on that brush while the escalator's moving. It's for our safety. Brushes won't let you come close to the edge, so a long coat or boot-cut jeans won't end up in between the steps. Originally, golf balls were smooth. They have a dimpled surface now because players noticed that overused balls with damages flew better than brand new ones. At some point, manufacturers started producing balls with dimples. If you take a box of aluminum foil, you'll see tabs you can press on the side. They keep the foil straight and prevent it from rolling. It's also easier to tear off some amount of foil thanks to those tabs. Jerry cans have 3 handles for a reason. It's a smart designer move, so when you carry it alone, you use only the central handle to distribute the weight evenly. But your friend wants to help you out. Each of you grabs the side handle. 2 flat prongs you can see on standard plugs used in North and Central America make sense. But how about those holes near the tips? Thanks to them, the outlet firmly grips the plug so that it won't loosen or fall out of the socket. It's sometimes irritating when you haven't used the entire stick of deodorant. There's a little bit more left, but it's hard to reach it. Okay, the trick is easy. Unscrew the bottom, take a pencil, and force it underneath that moving platform. That way, you'll push what's left of the deodorant out. There's a number put on the side of many cosmetic products. It isn't picked randomly. It tells you how long your product will last after you've opened it. This is why it has an open jar for a graphic symbol. A lint roller is good at removing those tiny fibers, but you can also use it to clean other stuff. For example, when you want to remove the dirt from the utensil tray in your dishwasher, simply take your sticky lint roller and put it into each compartment, and all the crumbs, dirt, and leftovers are all gone. Kings depicted on playing cards are real historical characters. Spades, King David. Clubs, Alexander the Great. Hearts, Charles the Great. Diamonds, Julius Caesar. Rings used to be more than a stylish accessory. The nobility used rings as a seal. Archers wore rings to protect their fingers from bowstring injuries, while needlewomen from needle pricks. Detachable headrests in cars are all about safety. If you pull it out of a seat, you'll see 2 pretty sturdy bars. If you ever get locked or trapped in a car, you can get out of there smashing the window with these bars. A little arrow next to the refueling indicator on the car's dashboard indicates which side of the vehicle has fuel tank openings. It's useful when you need to refuel a rented car. You are probably using shampoo wrong all the time. Well, the main thing you should know is that you don't apply it directly on your hair. You gotta apply it onto the roots only. The foam that you make is enough to clean your hair. A button on the reverse side of a shirt collar is needed to hold a tie in place. Anyway, this button was designed for slim ties that are not that popular today, so this button is only an element of design. A cotton pads pack has those strings on it to hang it on some hook or holder. There's no need to untighten and tighten the pack again. Look at the bottom, it has a perforated line. Tear along it and just pull out a cotton pad from a hanging pack. It's a myth that the red side of the eraser is for pencil and the blue one is for ink. The blue gets rid of mistakes on thicker types of paper only. It works both for pencil and even ink, but make sure the paper is really thick. But that blue little thing can do so much more. It can polish your jewelry, clean your electronics. For example, the screen of your cell phone. You know those irritating sticker residues that won't peel off? Eraser helps there too. Same as with cleaning scuffed up suede or dirt you have on your walls. There's no need to tear one of its edges on stick sachets. The right way is to tear them down the middle. You say it's not a big difference, but at least there's less mess with those torn paper bits. A small V patch at the bottom of the collar helps put on the sweater without losing any shape over time because it's made of a double layer of webbing material, just like waistbands and cuffs. To avoid spilling juice right onto your t-shirt, try pouring it from the other side of the carton. This way, it sloshes less and it's easier to control. To enjoy fresh and soft peanut butter, store it upside down. This way, the oils won't stay on the bottom all the time and distribute evenly in the jar. Yeah, you've heard before that a drawer beneath your oven is there for keeping the food warm if the guests are running late. Hey, you can also slow cook on lower temperatures in that drawer. Automatic lip liners and eye pencils sometimes have a sharpener installed in the package. The lid on the back part of the pencil doesn't only reveal the color. You can pull it out and sharpen up the product. Grocery cart loops help organize all the stuff in your cart better so you can enjoy your supermarket trip. You don't want to put your brand new fancy white jacket in a cart next to carrots and onions, huh? Fruit stickers know everything about your apple's past. A 5-digit number where the first number is 9 is a good sign. It's an organic product. A 4-digit number starting with a 3 or 4 means it was conventionally farmed. If the number starts with an 8 and there are 5 digits, it's best to leave it on the shelf. Metal buttons on jeans, also known as rivets, help make the pockets more durable when miners would fill them with heavy tools. They're still helpful today. Even if you don't store anything heavy in your pockets, rivets strengthen the seams and make your jeans last longer. All Tic Tac containers are designed to dispense 1 Tic Tac every time you open it. The lid has the same shape as the candy. Turn the container upside down, gently shake it, and slowly open it. You'll notice only 1 candy stuck between those lid grooves. So if you just open the container and shake it until 5 or even more candies fall into your mouth, it means you've been eating Tic Tacs wrong all this time. So get this, an extra hole at the upper part of the sink has multiple hidden functions. First, in case someone forgets to close the tap, the water won't overflow and the bathroom won't get flooded. Second, thanks to that hole, the water drains faster and it gives an escape for the air, helping the water flow down. Those 2 holes on a side of any Converse shoe are not only to let the stinky air out. Sure, breathability is important for any athlete. The second reason is that athletes lace through those holes to get a better grip. Donuts have a hole in the middle and it doesn't stand for O in donut. It's not designed for an easier grip either, though it can be quite convenient. It's actually made this way for mass baking, so that they can cook all the way through evenly. Baby carrots are tiny and, unlike regular carrots, wet. Baby carrots aren't some special sort of carrots. They're actually made of regular carrots by cutting off the skin and outer layers and then polishing them to look that pretty. The problem is that they can't retain moisture. A regular carrot retains some water inside because of the layers that locks it in. Once they're chopped out, baby carrots can dry out easily, so they usually sell them in bags with some water inside. Toy stores are filled with Beanie Baby plush toys, and a detail that is even more iconic than their huge eyes is their tags saying TY. That's a small manufacturing company not so many people have heard of. Beanie Babies appeared in 1993 and they went insanely popular. TY is the name of the company, but it's not an abbreviation. It's the actual name of the company's founder, H. Ty Warner. Most metallic zippers have a hidden lock inside them to save you from awkward situations, such as an undone fly. Oh boy. Don't leave the zipper handle in an upward position. When you pull it downwards, it automatically locks. It's all thanks to those tiny grooves hidden underneath the handle. Almost any public toilet has a large gap between the floor and the door. The reason for such a zero privacy thing is to actually minimize the level of privacy and comfort, so that people wouldn't stay there long and there'd be no lines. It's also easier to clean, and safer if some emergency occurs. Headrests in a car are about comfort, and detachable headrests are about safety. If you pull the headrest out of a seat, you'll see 2 bars, which are quite sturdy. If you ever get locked or trapped in a car, you can get out of there smashing the window with these bars. Many cups and mugs have little grooves on the bottom on purpose. They're designed for dishwashing machines. The grooves let the water flow and not spill over your feet when you take the cup out. Also, those grooves let the air flow, so the cup doesn't crack even if the tea is scalding. Almost all measuring tapes have a metal tip with a small slot on the end. You can use this slot to hang the tape on a nail or a screw to make measurements without anyone's help. Sometimes this tip has a row of sharp points along the edge on one side. That comes in handy when you want to leave a mark without using a pencil. Doorknobs are usually made of brass, bronze, and some other copper alloys for a reason. They have an antibacterial effect, so they stop microbes from spreading. They get rid of a range of harmful germs pretty fast, within a couple of hours. But don't forget to wash your hands anyway. Grocery carts have loops for a reason. You don't want to put your jacket in a cart next to potatoes and onions. Hang it on a loop. This little hook-like thing is there to help you better organize the space in your cart. The carts also have a super handy grid. Whenever the cart's full, you just need to lift the grid and attach the shopping basket for extra purchases, placing it in between the horizontal bar above the wheels and the hooks the grid has. A point in an ointment cap is there for a reason too. Most tubes are usually sealed with foil, and it's better to avoid opening it with fingers unless you're ready to say goodbye to your nails. A point easily opens even the most safely sealed tube. Silica gel can often be found in different things you buy like bags, shoes, and many others. Don't throw it away. It's meant to absorb excess moisture, so anytime your shoes are a bit wet, just throw in a packet with silica gel. People used to co-live with rats, and these guys like gnawing on everything they see in their way, including paper. Still, rats weren't able to chew more than the space left on the margins. That black grate on a microwave isn't just some fancy decoration. It's called a Faraday shield, and it prevents the rays from escaping the microwave. It also speeds up the heating, so you can enjoy yesterday's leftovers faster. It may also block phone signals, so if you're tired of numerous calls, just put the phone into a microwave. But don't turn it on. All Tic Tac containers are designed to dispense one Tic Tac every time you open it. The lid has the same shape as the candy. Turn the container upside down, gently shake it, and open it slowly. You'll notice only one candy stuck between those lid grooves. So if you just open the container and shake it until 5 or even more candies fall into your mouth, it means you've been eating Tic Tacs wrong all this time. Those little holes in the airplane windows are designed to control the cabin pressure. They also protect the windows from fogging up as the temperatures drop and rise. By the way, the airplane window is round for a reason. This way, pressure is evenly distributed so it doesn't get deformed. Blue bristles on a toothbrush are actually an indicator that it's just about time to change the brush. As the bristles get in contact with water, the blue, or whatever other, pigment fades away, so the more you use it, the duller the color becomes. A triple handle on a jerry can is there to make it easier for two people to carry it and distribute the fuel evenly. Gas cans often have a second hole that actually needs to be uncapped too before you pour the gas. The air passage will prevent it from pouring out, so no more fuel waste. Jeans first appeared in 1873. They were invented by Jacob Davis and Levi Strauss. Davis was a tailor who was producing covers and tents, and Strauss was a businessman who, among other things, was selling cloth. The first jeans were made by Davis from denim, the fabric he bought from Levi Strauss & Co. Together, they patented the design. Blue was a standard color for denim that was dyed using an indigo dye. The blue color is a tradition that is still often followed today to replicate the original look of a pair of jeans. Jeans also have metal rivets, and they've been there from the very beginning. Jacob Davis, the man who made the first pair of jeans, added copper rivets to spots where pants were more likely to rip, flies, and pockets to make them stronger. Today, they have more of a decorative purpose since they're distinctive and traditional for jeans. Another special thing about jeans is those tiny pockets they have that seemingly serve no purpose. Well, maybe it's true now, but years ago, when many cowboys were wearing jeans, the pocket was made specifically to keep a pocket watch there. Also, back then, a pair of jeans had just 4 pockets. That tiny pocket, the watch pocket, 2 big pockets in front, and just 1 pocket on the back. Many zippers have the letters YKK engraved on them. It's an abbreviation that stands for the name of the company that can be translated as Yoshida Manufacturing Shareholding Company. This Japanese company is the largest zipper manufacturer in the world, so they put their initials on all the zippers they produce. That's around half of the zippers in the world. And that's why you see their zippers more often than any other zippers. Those little white golf balls have dimples all over them. It turns out they aren't there just randomly. At first, golfers were playing with a smooth ball. With time, the ball would get all punched and damaged, but also it would start to travel way further. The reason here is aerodynamics. Dimples allow the air to flow more smoothly around the ball, taking it further. So the idea was adopted and the balls got their dimples all around, allowing them to travel longer distances. Hello, your luxury bag package has arrived. We have a super romantic recipe for you. It'll especially be great for Valentine's Day or your someone special's birthday. Breakfast could not get any cuter than this. Now this hack is going to take your veggie sandwiches to a whole other level. Just be careful with the boiling hot oil. Fill the fried dough pocket with your favorite vegetables and bon appetit! Oh, this video is making me hungry already. You might want to write down the ingredients in your recipe book for this one. You know, just to remember everything later. One color is not enough, by the way. If you want this cookie to be a joyful burst of color, that is. Don't worry, the colors are going to be bright and gorgeous after they're baked. Make sure not to burn them. I somehow always manage to do that. Cookies and milk, everyone? Potatoes must be one magical vegetable, wouldn't you agree? Because there are probably more than 1,000 different dishes you can make with them. And they're all delicious. There are two types of people at a cafe, those who get a slice of cake or those who get a cookie. But I personally get both. Talk about having a sweet tooth, am I right? We already made colorful cookies, so why not make a rainbow cake now? Are you throwing a big party at your home soon? Then this dish is just for you. Because it's super easy to prepare, it's big, it's filling, and it's delicious. Oh, and did I mention it probably would take 15 minutes to prepare? Look at the cheese melt. Makes my mouth water. I could eat this for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Vegetables have a bad reputation, you know. Most people think they're boring and tasteless. But we're here to fix that common misconception. Something can be both nutritious and yummy at the same time. Take these carrot rolls, for example. They could be a great alternative if you're not fond of eating sushi. Just make sure to dip them in soy sauce for the full experience. Here's a quick meal you can prepare just with everyday breakfast items that you already have in your fridge. And it's super fresh and healthy. Perfect dinner for hot summer nights if you ask me. Add the topping of your choice and enjoy. Another example of how vegetables are tasty gifts from Mother Nature. This kind of looks like a forest, wouldn't you agree? The key here is to leave no empty space behind. By the way, having a good oven is key if you want to experiment in the kitchen. Let's say it's the middle of the night. There's no takeout place left open, but you're craving some fast food. This is just the recipe for that. Come on, admit it, you thought this was gonna be a version of pizza, right? Anyone want crunchy pasta? This is healthier than store-bought chips, you know. By the way, here's a fun fact about pasta that not many people know. The first reports of people eating pasta actually came from China. Speaking of sausages, I'm on a fun fact roll here, so here's one about hot dogs for you. The world record for hot dog eating is 76. Let's just hope the person who broke it was okay after eating them. Anyway, back to our delicious hot dog egg crepes. Well, if you have a better name for these, don't hesitate to let me know in the comments. From the looks of it, that avocado needs a bit more time to ripen up. But since it's going into the blender, that shouldn't be a big problem. I suggest you blend that for a couple of minutes to achieve a smooth paste with no clumps. I assume that's cream cheese. Who needs a dipping bowl, am I right? Great for Super Bowl season. You won't need to do the dishes after having guests over. I prefer my popcorn with melted butter. Well, that goes for corn on the cob, too. I can already tell this is gonna taste amazing. Hey, they should start selling these in movie theaters as well. This will not be one of your regular fried potatoes, people. Trust me. I know you have the urge to cut small cubes, but make sure to keep the potato in one piece. Otherwise, this won't work. Have you ever heard that Cleopatra supposedly took milk baths to keep her skin looking young and healthy? Well, don't get me wrong, these milk ice cubes are not for that. That's one way to cool down coffee. Somebody's making a real mess in the kitchen. Why not put the whole bag in the water? It'll be much safer and cleaner. That's one sharp knife you got there. But here's another way you can use it. Looks like you're gonna have to get your hands dirty. And in some cases, touching raw meat with your bare hands may not be a good idea. That's where this cold water hack comes in handy. Pun intended. Sometimes you might not have the time to make dough. In those cases, using bread would work perfectly fine to prepare delicious snacks. You know what? This is not fair. I can't continue my diet plan anymore, especially after learning about incredible recipes like this one. That may look like a plastic sheet, but it's actually rice paper, so very much edible. These chips could be a healthier alternative for your kid's lunch bag. Trust me, there's no way they won't like how these taste. This next quick recipe is going to bring a whole other level to frozen yogurt. We're adding berries here, but feel free to pick any fruit you want. I call these frozen yogurt crackers. Do you have a milk frother at home? If your answer is yes, then great, because that's all you need to prepare instant banana milk for yourself. Yep, you don't even need a glass. You can put them in an ice bowl to keep your drink cold and fresh. Are we making chocolate crepes? Count me invested. By the way, any type of chocolate bar will work for this. The trick here is to have enough oil in the pan as well as to heat it beforehand. Add some powdered sugar on top to make it look like it's out of the hands of a Michelin star chef. This is the stuff that dreams are made of. Something sweet? Check. Now it's time for another savory recipe. You can use both mashed or grated potatoes to make this one. The choice is up to you. Just make sure they're freshly prepared. Add a cup of flour and an egg. Then cook the mixture until it's golden brown. Your potato waffles are ready to be served. If you're looking to remodel your kitchen but don't have the budget to replace the refrigerator, there might be a way you can still use your fridge, even if you have to move it to another location. Did you know that for most refrigerators, you can change the way you open their doors? These handles can be reversed on almost any refrigerator model. You just need to remove a few screws and bolts. It's best though if you keep track of the assembly order and the parts you've removed. As for the necessary tools, you only need a screwdriver, an adjustable wrench, pliers, and a ratchet set. There's an easy way to get the most out of your citrus fruit. And the tool you'll need for that is probably somewhere in your kitchen. Forget about expensive fruit juicers. No need to revert to the standard elbow grease. Next time you want to have some fresh lemon juice, just use a pair of kitchen tongs. Place the lemon, or any other citrus fruit, between the tongs and use the force of the tool to squeeze out all the juice in no time. Speaking of fruit, There's a great way to keep them fresh for longer, and it doesn't necessarily involve buying unripe bananas. Place them into an airtight container and put it in the fridge. The less air reaches the fruit, the longer they'll last. Then, how about delicate things, such as strawberries? They're a bit more difficult to clean due to their texture. Here's a neat way to make sure they're safe to eat. Take 3 cups of cold water and add a cup of vinegar. Put your strawberries in the mixture and gently move them around. After you drain and rinse the berries with cold tap water to remove the vinegar, pat them dry with a clean towel. Lastly, put them in a sealed container and store them in the fridge until you're ready to munch on them. I'm almost certain you've been using this one wrong your whole life, but I'm just as guilty as you are. Remember those neck pillows we often use when traveling? Turns out most of us tend to wear a pillow around the back of our neck and secure it at the front with a button. Well, some people say it feels a whole lot better if you flip your pillow. Why? Because with the gap located at the back of the neck, your head is still supported. But you'll relieve the pressure on your neck if your head starts falling from side to side as you fall asleep. Not to mention that your chin stays securely in place. You may have noticed some weird bumps on the concrete sidewalk, especially in crowded or high-traffic areas. This is called tactile paving. It was first used in Japan in the 1960s. Because of its efficiency, people started using it all over the world. These days, the system has developed into several types of paving for different kinds of situations. Blister paving, for example, is used at crosswalks. It's vital for people with visual impairment, warning them there's a road crossing ahead. In most cases, this paving consists of several rows of flat-topped blisters arranged in a square pattern. Then there's corduroy tactile paving, rounded bars running across the direction of pedestrian travel. It informs visually impaired people about some danger, like a set of stairs or a ramp. Sometimes after a long day, there's nothing more comforting than leftovers for dinner. Unfortunately, being as tired as you are, you might forget to cover your plate of food with a paper towel. And then, your microwave is likely to become a total mess. Luckily, there's an easy way to clean it, and it doesn't involve special products. Prepare a mixture of half water, half lemon juice. Pour the liquid into a bowl and microwave it for about a minute. The acidity of the mixture should help with decreasing the walls of the microwave, and you'll be able to simply wipe off all the residues. Are you one of those people that like to experiment when baking and aren't a fan of measuring tools? You can just use a whisk next time you need to add some flour. Stick the whisk in the flour bag and it should pick up a considerable amount of the product between its metal bars. I don't think there's anything I love more than simple and fast tricks to make everyday chores easier. Like this one, about trash bags. I bet that just like me, you've been doing this one wrong all this time. Open a trash bag. You don't need to ruffle it open completely. Just the top of the bag will do. Place the edge of the trash bag over the edge of the trash can and secure it in place. Then, simply push the rest of the bag into the can. And it should flip over perfectly. I love a nice snack as much as the next guy. But pistachios can sometimes be a real pain to open. They can hurt your fingers or even break your nails. But did you know that you can literally use another pistachio to open a stubborn one? Layer the openings of the 2 pistachio pods so that they interlace. Then just pull them apart and they should both pop open. Deodorants tend to make a mess, especially on black clothes. But you don't need a fancy cleaning product to get rid of the stains. You won't even need to change your shirt if this happens. Just rub the stained area with another piece of fabric once the deodorant has had some time to dry. It should flake off pretty easily. Surely there's a pumice stone somewhere in your bathroom. You know that weird-looking piece of rock that you use to exfoliate your heels? There's a lot more you can do with it if you're creative enough. Turns out it's pretty great for removing pet hair off textile furniture. You can also use it for removing pills off fabric. You can always unclog your kitchen pipes with a homemade solution. It's just as effective as the store-bought and involves way fewer damaging chemicals. Pour some white vinegar into your kettle. Make sure you heat it up, but remember to open your kitchen window as the smell might get a bit overwhelming. Meanwhile, place some baking soda in the pipes you want to clean. Let it sit for a couple of minutes. Then, add the heated vinegar. The mixture should pop and fizzle quite spectacularly. But don't worry, that's exactly what's supposed to be happening. After the process has calmed down, open the taps and let some lukewarm water run for a minute or so. It should wash off all the residues that were clogging your pipes. Nice added bonus, take a look at the insides of your kettle. As clean as new. I'll admit, patience is not one of my best features, and I'm not very talented at opening jars either. But getting a rubber band and putting it around the edge of the lid works every time. It gives me a solid, non-slip grip and something to hold on to whenever I stumble upon one of those stubborn jars. But if that doesn't work, I place the jar in hot water. The heat causes the metal to expand, making it easy to break the seal. You know how hard it is to hang things on your walls, especially when it comes to items that require multiple holes. But here's a neat trick. Take a piece of tape and spread it over the object you want to put on the wall. It can be a painting or maybe even an extension cord. Mark the spots where the holes are supposed to be on the tape. Then take the tape and place it on the wall. Now you'll know exactly how far apart the nails need to go.
Are you sure you feel safe when you leave your car out overnight in a parking lot or at the office? Every year, shifty lawbreakers steal millions of cars all over the world. That's about 800,000 a year just in the US. And believe me, thieves are getting more inventive every year. They've learned how to turn off car alarms, outsmart smart keys, and on average, drive away in your car in just 20 seconds. So, what are you gonna do? Well, let's start with the basics, like when your car alarm starts talking to you. You're sitting at home when suddenly beep beep beep, get out here and help me. Your car's screaming at you. You grab your keys and rush to the window. I don't see anyone. Maybe a neighbor passed by a little too close, or a bird sat on my antenna. What if everything isn't so harmless, and someone was trying to get into your car? Good old car alarm frightened him off. Congratulations! Yeah, the whole neighborhood's awake, but you kept your car. Well, step up your game with a mute immobilizer. It works like this. Someone somehow gets into your car. Hehehe, perfect. Totally got away with it. Key in, car on, punch it into drive, time for a quick getaway. Your car speeds off. For about 3 seconds, then chit-chit-chit, your car stalls and refuses to move. Looks like someone picked the wrong car, thinks the thief, and he's off into the night. You actually need 2 keys to start your car, your regular key and a kind of electronic reader that double confirms it's really you. It's kind of like when they send you a code by text when you want to open some secure app on your phone. When you have one of these systems and someone tries to steal your car, it shuts down automatically. Just remember, keep your 2 key thingies separate from each other. If they're on the same keychain, then the whole thing was pointless. Experts recommend telling everyone your car is protected. Slap a sticker on there. This car is protected by super secret safe security. Yeah, it's not a done deal, but why bother trying to steal a car if it might be protected? Don't have the cash for a car alarm with built-in immobilizer yet? Well, at least buy a sticker. So anti-theft systems work pretty well, but you still gotta be careful. Say you're in a hurry, late for an important meeting. Rush hour, traffic, oh, I can't be late again. Finally, you drive up to the building, pull into the parking lot, jump out of your car, and sprint to the entrance. So, did you check all your windows? You sure they're closed? What about the doors? If you stop and look around, you might just see a casual observer in the parking lot, sitting in a car or wandering around pretending to look for something. Say goodbye to your unlocked car. You may as well put a welcome sign on it. And even if they don't steal your car, don't hold your breath for all your personal stuff inside. So, remember, when you get out of your car, take a peek. Yeah, did you leave anything behind? Documents, wallet, phone? Don't be too shocked if they're gone when you get back. Just shove them into the glove compartment. Take extra care if you usually park in your driveway. Imagine you come home for dinner, leave the car, and rush into the house. Dinner smells so good. Well, some guy out on the street's thinking the same thing about your unlocked car. Delicious. And it's not just at night. Make sure you lock your car when you get home, even if it's in the middle of the day. I'm so guilty on this next one. Don't leave your car keys near the front door. I've been doing it wrong for years. You lock your car, go inside, throw the keys on that table next to the front door, and run to the kitchen. Oops. How often do you check if there are any weird people around when you drive up to your house? Me? Nah, never. It'd be pretty easy to miss someone hiding behind a tree or pretending to tie his shoelaces or something. He waits for a little while, sneaks up to the front door, and pulls the handle. You were so hungry you forgot to lock it. The guy looks around for your keys and there they are. Why does everyone leave them right there for me? He grabs them and he's out the door. You never heard a thing. What if you left your new watch on that little table? Yeah, it's gone too. Bottom line, don't leave anything valuable right by the front door, and always lock it behind you. The worst thing you can do? Leave the key in the ignition and jump out just for a second. Gotta get my morning coffee. Safer to keep your doors locked even if you're driving. You're driving along, you stop at a red light, whoosh. Somebody sneaks back up to your car, opens the passenger door, or even better, the back door, grabs your bag, and vanishes in the crowd. When you're looking for a space in a big parking lot, leave your car under the lights. Don't drive to the darkest part of the lot just because there are loads of empty spaces. So you have to walk a bit more. Big deal. Your car's safe. And don't think they're only hunting for expensive cars. Cheaper cars get stolen too. They take them to some hidden warehouse, then they get taken apart. Much easier to resell parts than a whole car. A cool idea is to customize your car. Like maybe airbrush something crazy on the hood. Ooh, that kind of car's super easy to spot on security cameras. Plus people will remember seeing it. That kind of stuff can easily scare off a thief. You should probably still get an alarm though. This next option's a bit extreme. You can hire professionals to mark all your car windows with a special number. If someone stole your car, they'd have to change all the windows before selling it. Totally not worth it. Thieves are great actors. What would you do if you saw someone drive up in a tow truck wearing some sort of uniform? They get out, check out a parked car, pretend to fill out some forms, and tow the car right then and there. If that happens to you, you can ask for the number of the tow company and call and see if it's legit. Another little trick, get in the habit of turning the wheels all the way to either side. That makes it way harder to tow quickly. The main thing these days is that your key's probably electronic. Thieves can use signal amplifiers to open your car from far away. And sorry to tell you, copying the entire electronic key code just takes a few minutes. Be careful with car washes and valets. So, what's the plan? Become a digital mastermind and camp out behind a bush near your car, waiting to catch your very own car thief? Sometimes the old ways work best. My grandpa's always telling me that. But I gotta be fair, he's always locking his car with one of those heavy steering wheel locks, and no one's ever broken into his car. I hate it when he's right. Probably the most popular thing nowadays is to GPS your car. You just hide a little receiver somewhere inside the car or in the trunk, then you can track it from your phone. If it starts to move and you're not driving it, it's probably being stolen. Don't go chasing after the car by yourself, let the pros handle it. You're out shopping for groceries, but in the parking lot, someone's left you a surprise. The classic plastic bottle in front of your wheel. You start moving and suddenly crack. What was that? Better check it out. You probably don't turn off your car or put your key away. You're out of your car for a few seconds, but believe me, for a professional thief, that's ages. The same thing can happen if you have to get out of the car to close a gate or a garage door. Sometimes they put flyers under the rear wiper. You jump out to take care of it and, bye-bye car. Make sure you shut the engine off and take the key out. Be extra careful if you're trying to sell your car. Bring a friend along to meet your buyer, and don't take out any car documents until the very end. And hold on to the keys. If you're out on a test drive, get in the car first and get out last. You don't want your precious car driving off while you pop out for your morning coffee.
When you reach to open your car door from the inside, you're likely to open it with whatever hand is closest to the handle. A safer way to open it is with your other hand. Not safer for you, but for those on the outside. As you're reaching, it allows for an upper body pivot. This ensures a clear line of sight, looking past the rearview mirror and also to the other side. This way, you're looking out for any cyclists or other passersby that are quickly approaching from either direction. This method of opening the door was coined the Dutch reach. Yep, it originated in the Netherlands. Cycling is super popular there, so they introduced this method decades ago to reduce incidents from cars. Next time you open your door, think like the Dutch. Although you should take your car for a service on a regular basis, there are some parts of the engine that's been color-coded for you. The dipstick, oil cap, coolant, brake fluid, and washer fluid all have their own independent colors, making it easier for you to identify what you should refill for your car's health. The rest of the engine will remain uncolored, reserved for your mechanic to look over. Long drives can be tiring, right? A lot of modern-day cars provide reminders to take a break to ensure you remain fresh and focused while driving. But some models also detect if you're falling asleep, identifying whether the steering is irregular. The steering wheel may quickly vibrate or will alert you in other ways, just in case you suddenly take a quick nap behind the wheel. Newer cars also have facial recognition technology and heart rate sensors to further confirm if you are completely awake. Fuel consumption is an important factor when buying a new car. Bigger cars may not necessarily be more fuel efficient. The frames of cars are now built with lighter materials, like aluminum instead of steel. An aluminum frame is stronger and requires less room, allowing for more miles to the gallon. The extra space also means more room for technology to further enhance your driving experience. That little icon on your dash is for built-in stability control. It lights up when tires lose their traction when driving on gravel, icy, or wet roads. When it lights up, it's signaling that one or all four wheels' brakes have been engaged to retain the stability of the wheels to help you get out of a slippery situation. You may not have stability controls in your vehicle, but there will be a light on your dash that will also alert you when you're in icy conditions. It's activated by a sensor outside of the engine, so it can identify how cold the outside temperature is, ensuring the driver is aware of the potentially hazardous conditions. A lot of drivers ignore indicating or signaling on the road, possibly due to last-second changes of lanes or from simply forgetting, something that frustrates a lot of people. To counter this, cars may have automatic overtaking indicators, ensuring that even the most oblivious of drivers will still provide a signal. Just make sure that you read your car's manual before assuming that you have this feature. A hands-free trunk will enable you to carry as much as you like as you walk towards your car. The trunk opens automatically as it senses the hands-free device in your pocket. Just keep it there to ensure you avoid the awkward scenario of getting trapped in the trunk. It happens more often than you'd think, even without the hands-free feature. There are trunk releases for those who find themselves in this predicament, though not every car has this option. With older cars, you may find a cable towards the hinges of the trunk door. You may need to lift the carpet to find this cable, but once you do, pull it towards the back seat. This will activate the lock and release you from humiliation. A little hook in front of the passenger seat and on your headrest is a thoughtful feature that was installed to ensure that you can hang your takeout on it. There are more hooks in the trunk of the car which are intended for your groceries, ensuring that you don't get a messy trunk when suddenly braking in traffic. If you have to drive in colder climates, you know the frustrations of finding the windshield completely covered in ice. You may discover an ice scraper hidden in your fuel cap door. The grab handles in your car are very useful when you need that extra brace for tight corners. Their purpose was originally meant to assist those who require a little more support when getting in and out of the car. It works similarly to bathroom grab bars. The rearview mirror in most cars has a tab at the bottom of it. This is to switch positions to keep the sun out of your eyes during the day and avoid the high beam lights from shining in your eyes at night. Newer models of cars have an automated dim mirror, sensing the brightness of the sun so there are no visual issues on the road. Above the rearview mirror, you might find another one. And no, it's not meant for applying makeup when stuck in traffic. This is a conversation mirror, ensuring you can look at all the passengers in your car, whether they're humans or your poochie pooch. Unfortunately, not all mirrors detect oncoming cars. The driver's blind spot has been a notorious issue since cars were invented. But with technology, newer sensors detect if a car is close, whilst being within that pesky spot, providing a signal on your dash. The glove box and penny tray aren't the only compartments to keep your belongings. There can be many hidden areas, under or within the seats, on the floor of the car, or panels in the sides. Now they're packing cars with more helpful hidden devices, ensuring you'll always be prepared. You can find umbrellas and vacuum cleaners in doors, seats, and floors. So you've picked a rental car and gone on a trip. Oops, looks like you forgot to check which side the fuel cap is on. Luckily, your fuel gauge on the dash has an arrow pointing to whichever side it's located on. Cars made within the last 10 years will all have this arrow. Older cars may not, but they will have a hose with a nozzle on the side instead. Your phone is much more likely to be in your pocket than your car keys. Taking advantage of nomophobia, they develop cars you can unlock with an app on your phone. The days of locking your keys in the car are soon to be over. If you don't notice your car tires losing pressure, one cold frost overnight can alter it seriously. Tires with not enough air in them make them prone to a puncture. Since 2008, cars have been provided with sensors that help you realize that your tires need their pressure increased. Some cars may even show which specific tire is going flat. Those ambient lights on the inside of your car look great at night. They're an optional feature to have, but are very beneficial, influencing better orientation. It also provides a sense of safety and comfort whilst driving in the dark. As you're driving in the dark, the extra lights on the side of the rear and front are used for foggy and wet conditions, not only for the driver. It also helps oncoming traffic see you. Sure, your car looks nicer as well, but be sure to check on the requirements to use them in some countries, as they may strictly be used in low visibility conditions.
Now, before you leave your bedroom in the morning, make sure you close all the windows and shades to keep the room as dark as possible. It prevents any sun or hot air getting in and increasing the temperature of the room. Once the sun is set, try opening 2 windows that are on opposite sides of the room. This will create cross ventilation. Air will come in through one window and exit out the other to create a nice cooling breeze. If there's only one window in your room, you can mimic this system by placing a fan opposite the open window. The fan will blow back out the air that enters through the window. This might sound strange, but it'll help to get rid of the warm indoor air while allowing the new, cooler air inside. Try to avoid any heat-generating appliances throughout the day. The heat that these devices give off will only make the air in your room even warmer. If you use a hairdryer, try it on a cooler setting. Instead of using a warm oven to roast your dinner, have a no-cook summer salad instead. This even applies to your electronics. Running computers, TVs, and your charging phone all generate heat. Turning off these appliances before bed will keep your air temperature cooler for longer. Of course, you'll know to swap out your heavier winter comforter for a lighter summer one. But choosing your bedding based on fabric can make all the difference. Sheets and blankets made from synthetic materials like polyester manage to trap heat. This can make your bed feel even warmer than it actually is. Heavier natural fibers such as flannel or wool won't keep you cool either. Seek out bedding made from breathable materials like cotton or linen. These lighter natural fibers feel much cooler on your skin. As it gets closer to bedtime, your body's core temperature naturally starts to dip to help you get to sleep. You can aid this natural cooling process by taking a lukewarm shower before you go to bed. Your body temperature will initially rise in the shower, but once you exit, your body will start to cool down fast. However, make sure the shower isn't too hot, or the steam it'll give off will increase the temperature in your room. If you head to sleep with damp hair, the extra moisture on your scalp will help you feel even cooler. But don't use this trick too often, as sleeping with a wet scalp on a regular basis may cause hair damage and extra tangling. Tell me about it. While a cool fan will initially help to drop the temperature in your room, they recycle the same air over and over again, so it soon loses its cooling effect. If you place a bowl of ice water in front of the fan, it will instantly cool down the air the fan blows, giving you cool air far into the night. The most common place that humans release sweat is their forehead and face. So, to stay cool, it's important to keep these areas cool. Try freezing a small washcloth for an hour before bed. Place it on your forehead to use as a cold compress before you go to sleep. If you don't want to go to extremes, you may skip the freezing step and just place a cool, soaking wet compress. Lower quality mattresses can be heat traps. They tend to use a poorer quality of foam that restricts airflow, meaning that your body heat gets trapped at the surface of the mattress where you sleep. Higher quality mattresses use innovative tools like gel-infused mattresses or plant-based foams to help absorb your body heat and help you stay cool while you sleep. Even if your blankets are really thin, but you keep layering them, the air will get trapped in between the layers, keeping you warmer. So, for summer nights, opt for only one comforter. Hot air rises, so to avoid the heat, try and set your bed up as close to the ground as possible. If you live in a multi-floor house, instead of sleeping in an upper story, try to sleep on the ground floor or even a cool basement. If your home is only one floor, try hauling your mattress off the bed frame and place it on the floor. In order to fall asleep in the sweltering heat of the Egyptian sun, the native folk devised a peculiar method. Wet a blanket or sheet that is large enough to cover your body with some cold water. Wring it out or leave it to dry until it isn't dripping wet but still damp. Place a dry towel on top of your mattress to save it from getting wet, and then use the damp sheet as your blanket. The damp blanket will keep you cool throughout the night. Regular exercising helps to improve the overall quality of your sleep. But if you exercise too late in the evening, your core temperature will be at a higher level, making it more difficult to cool down before bedtime. If you sleep alone, you have plenty of space to spread out. Stretch out your arms and legs and head to sleep in a spread eagle position. This will allow the air to circulate around your body, reducing your body temperature. Heavy meals full of fats and carbs take a lot of energy for your body to break down. They can cause what people call meat sweats. Spicy meals also tend to make people sweat. Swap big meals for smaller, lighter portions, like fish, salads, and fruits. Certain foods like popcorn and dark chocolate contain nutrients that help you sleep. Try to avoid eating at least 2 to 3 hours before bed for optimal cool potential. Dehydration causes your body temperature to rise. Your body doesn't have enough fluid to sweat and regulate your core temperature. Make sure to drink a glass of water before bed and keep one handy on your bedside table to stay hydrated throughout the night. Stick your sheets into a plastic bag and then place them in the freezer for 2 to 3 minutes before bed. This won't keep you cool all night, but will give you some instant relief from the heat and humidity when you settle into bed. If freezing your full sheet sounds a bit too intense, why not try and do it with your socks? Wearing cold socks to bed increases the blood flow around the body, which helps lower your core temperature. Hot water bottles aren't just handy for winter. Stick them in the freezer, and then you can have an ice pack that won't leak all over your bed. While a big fluffy pillow is great to lay your head on after a long, hard day, they don't do much for keeping you cool. The head is one of the warmest parts of your body, and surrounding it in pillow fluff can stop the heat from escaping. Swap out your fluffy pillows for a lighter version in order to keep a cool head. If you need to cool down quickly, applying ice or cold compresses to pulse points, where our blood vessels are closer to the skin than other points, will lower your body temperature fast. These pulse points are at your wrists, neck, elbows, ankles, and behind your ears. Just like your bed sheets, it's important to make sure that your PJs are made from a lightweight material. If you're trying to stay cool, wearing less is better. Loose cotton shorts or underwear should do the trick. Some people argue that PJs actually keep you cooler than sleeping au natural, as the fabric soaks sweat off the body. Now, if you're brave enough, why not try and fashion a DIY hammock in your bedroom? Because hammocks are suspended on all sides, they have increased airflow. It'll feel like sleeping in a cool breeze. By hanging a wet sheet up in front of an open window, you can cool down an entire room. The air blowing in will be cooled by the wet sheet and quickly lower the room's temperature. Drinking coffee dehydrates you and elevates cortisol levels, making it difficult to get comfortable enough to fall asleep no matter what the weather is like. Instead of a large macchiato before bed, try a warm cup of herbal tea or glass of milk, which both help with falling asleep. You can turn ordinary matches into waterproof ones. Apply a thin coat of nail polish to the matches and let it dry. Once they're ready, they'll stay dry enough to start a fire even if you drop the matches in the water. If you get lost somewhere during the winter and need a drink, then don't eat snow. It has much more air than water, so you won't even feel much more hydrated. Your body also wastes a lot of energy trying to eat it. Even worse, you might lower your body temperature and could even get sick. If you find yourself face to face with a coyote or a wolf, don't turn your back. Slowly retreat while facing the animal. This might only work for a single animal, though. If you meet a pack, then the most important thing is to make sure that they don't surround you. Back away towards a tree and press your back against it. Then choose the right moment and climb it as quickly as possible. Several layers of clothing will warm you better than one warm fur coat or down jacket. Air will be trapped between the clothing layers, insulating you and keeping your body warm. If you get lost in the woods, always try to sleep a little above the ground. You can lay on a layer of branches and leaves as a makeshift bed, or stretch a hammock out between some trees. At night, the temperature drops and the ground becomes cold. Even if you build a fire, it could go out while you sleep, and the ground will be sapping your body heat. You're in a boat in the middle of the sea, no food, no fishing net, and you're hungry. It was supposed to be only a 3-hour tour. Well, guess what? You can catch fish with the help of shoelaces and any object – phone, watch, or keys. The shadow cast by the boat in the sea can attract fish, and a reflective object can work as bait. Tie your keys to your shoelaces and use them as a fishing rod. Even if a fish doesn't bite, activities like this are a good way to maintain a healthy mind on the open sea. A short meditation can save you from a panic attack. You need to focus on your breathing and try to slow it down. Your brain will quickly calm down and turn its focus away from the panic. Oxygen masks in airplanes work on the same principle. When you control your breathing, your attention is redirected away from whatever bad thing is happening. You can make a torch out of a log. Put a small log vertically, make a deep star-shaped cut on the top. Put dry grass, leaves, and sticks inside. Once you're done, set fire to the log and watch it burn for up to 3 hours. This should work the same regardless of the size and type of wood. Now, if you meet an angry grizzly bear, never try to run away because the bear can easily outrun you. Instead, lie down and don't move. Grizzlies only usually attack when they see a threat, so they'll often leave you alone if you show them that you won't cause them any problems. This only works with grizzly bears, though. If a confrontation is unavoidable, back away slowly and use bear spray. If you don't have any, pepper spray will work similarly and should disorient the bear and scare it away. Or not. Don't eat berries or mushrooms in the forest if you don't know exactly what they are. They could be poisonous. If you have no other option, eat the inner bark of maples, birches, and pines to fill your stomach. Use a knife to cut away the rough outer bark and get to the softer white stuff. You can boil it to make it even softer, or cook it over an open fire to make a crunchy snack. And if you're really starving, you can look for ants. They might not be the most appetizing, but they're pretty nutritious. If you don't have a watch, you can use your fingers to find out how much time is left until sunset. Raise your hand so the inside of your palm is facing you. Your fingers should be between the sun and the horizon line. See how many fingers can fit in this space. The thickness of one finger equals about 15 minutes, so you can calculate the time left before sunset. If you're lost and need to build a fire to attract attention, throw in a lot of pine, cedar branches, cones, and any unnecessary rubber objects. Your fire will emit more black smoke, which makes it visible from afar. If you have no water in the desert but have some food, try to avoid eating for as long as you can. The more you eat, the more thirsty you'll get. The body needs liquid to digest food, so it'll use up what little you have. A person can live much longer without food than without water, so don't be afraid to stay hungry. Hey, you found a huge puddle of dirty water in the forest. If you're desperate for a drink, you can fill your bottle and filter it into drinking water. To clean it, make a rope of gauze or clothing. Put one end into the dirty bottle and the other one into the empty one. Before long, the clean water will flow into the empty bottle through the rope, while the impurities are left behind. Before hiking, replace your regular shoelaces with paracord shoelaces. If you don't have enough rope, these laces can give you a few extra feet in a pinch. If you're lost in the forest and have nothing to warm you, then take dry leaves and grass from the ground and put it between 2 layers of clothing. This will help you stay warm for a long time. When you're lost in the desert, try to move as little as possible during the day. Find a shadow or create it from improvised materials and sit in the shade until dark. At night, you'll spend much less energy and use up less fluid while you walk. This will help you to avoid the risk of a heat stroke. If you fall through some ice, don't try to get out like you would in a pool. If you put your hands on the ice and try to push yourself out with your arms, it could crack and make you fall back into the water. You need to stretch your arms parallel to the ice surface and stretch your legs way back so they float in the water. In this horizontal position, start waving your legs as if you're swimming. Move your arms carefully without putting too much weight on the ice, and you should be able to escape. If you need to build a fire while it's too windy, here's what to do. Dig 2 holes next to each other and create a small underground tunnel between them. Make a fire in one of the pits. The wind can't extinguish it, and the fire gets its air through the second pit. This method is also useful if you need to build a fire without drawing attention. In the dark, this kind of fire won't be visible. Don't throw away or pop bubble wrap. Take it on a hike with you. It will protect you from the cold better than even a thick blanket would. Those tiny air bubbles are perfect insulation. Just put it in between layers of clothing and it'll stop any warmth from escaping. The plastic it's made of is also waterproof, so it can stop you from getting wet too. Swimming in the sea not far from the shore, you can easily get swept up in rip currents. If this happens, the most important thing to remember is not to swim against the current. This will only waste your strength and sap your energy, and you're unlikely to ever overpower an ocean current. Instead, try to swim sideways along the shore. Sooner or later, you should get out of the current, and then you can safely swim to the beach. If you're stuck in a falling elevator, don't try to jump at the moment of collision. Don't take a sitting position or stand either. You need to lie on the floor, facing the ceiling. Spread your legs as wide as possible, cover your face with one hand, and put the other hand behind your head for protection. You reduce the pressure on your body in this position when you fall. Ooh, you're lost! A rescue helicopter flies over the forest, but you don't have a flare and don't have time to build a fire. Use a small mirror or phone screen to reflect the sunlight. Aim the light beam towards the helicopter. Rescuers should notice the glare and fly over to save you.
Oops, another burglary in the US has just occurred. Wait another 22.6 seconds and there will be another one. Hey, no need to worry about your property. Forewarned, forearmed. Let's explore a few tips on how to protect your house. A mere sticker can contribute a lot to your house's safety. For instance, you can use a sticker that says you have a home security system, even if in reality you don't. It may not sound convincing enough, but still, burglars prefer not to mess with such houses. Just one more tip here. Make sure the sticker looks true to life, so a makeshift sign won't do. it's better to fork out some money and grab a real-looking sticker. Another smart trick is to leave a pair of really large shoes on the porch so that the burglars could clearly see them. It will make them think someone big and dangerous lives there, and they won't fancy meeting them. Right, now let's inspect your door. I hope you don't leave the keys under the doormat. The only things you can leave under the mat are the cookies or chips. This is a fun way to see if someone was visiting you while you were away. However, the trick doesn't give you a 100% guarantee. It might be a mailman, a delivery guy who got the wrong door, or even a random dog hanging around your porch. Yeah, cookies feel better in your stomach, not under the doormat. Okay, you're back home from work. It was a tough day and you're tired. You leave the keys in the keyhole and completely forget about it. Right, the main thing is that you've locked the door and the keys are inside. But who said there is no burglar in the bushes targeting your house? Technically, it might be impossible to insert a dupe and get in if there's a key in the keyhole. But these guys are well equipped and have a whole assortment of hooks to lure the key out. You know what happens next? They can seep into your house as silently as ninjas and grab all your valuables while you're peacefully sleeping. A lock that can only be closed from the inside and can't be opened from the outside seems like a good solution. When moving to a new place, even if you didn't buy it but rent it, make sure to change the locks. Who knows how many copies of those keys there are? As for renting, you never know who lived there before you moved in. Also, if for some reason you accidentally left your keys in the front door for some time, the best thing to do is to change the lock. Yeah, probably nothing bad will happen, but still, it's better to play it safe. Plus, not only should you stop leaving the keys in the door, but you also shouldn't leave them on display. Maybe it's better to bring the keys to the living room instead of keeping them near the front door. Sometimes, burglars can use not only your door, but your window too. Mind your trash, especially if you throw away some pricey stuff packaging. Don't let the thieves know what you purchased and how much you paid for it. Also, your trash may contain some essential information about your personal data, credit card details, and so much more. Keep an eye on your mailbox. Make sure you have a lock on it. Thing is, burglars may be quite interested in your mail contents, so the secret is simple. Keep the mailbox locked and make sure you shred any personal data-related papers. Now let's inspect your front lawn. Hey, I can see something compromising. I'm talking about these large bushes. Yeah, I know you don't have time to trim them. The larger they get, the more space there is for the burglars to hide. Plus, if someone sees untrimmed shrubs and trees in the front yard, they might think nobody's home. You see the point, right? Okay, let's say you ignored all the previous tips and burglars broke into your house. The most interesting thing for them is surely cash. If you don't have any cash at home, you can skip this tip. But if you have valuables, get creative. Cash can be stuffed into a plastic bag and hidden in a large container with some leftovers. Also, you can place that plastic bag into an old detergent bottle you keep in the storeroom or the kitchen. Burglars aren't likely to look for your stash there. A couple of don'ts here. Hiding cash or jewels in a prescription pills container isn't that smart. And yeah, a freezer isn't the best option either. Many burglars like to check it in the first place. Time to see if you keep your keys right. If you keep your car and house keys together, you might want to reconsider it. First off, imagine you lose them and burglars somehow know where you live. Not only will they grab what they want, but they'll also have a vehicle to transport all your hard-earned belongings. Keep an eye on your garage keys, especially if it's possible to sneak into your house through your garage. Even if it isn't, who said there are no valuables in the garage? However, there are no limits whatsoever for burglars. They can sneak into houses even through small windows. The reason why they prefer doors is that it's the safest way, while squeezing through the window can get scratches, and it's not that they don't want to spoil their looks. The thing is, if they leave their DNA, they can be traced. However, crooks are careful about not leaving their traces. For instance, a report from England claims only about 3% of burglars leave forensic evidence. To protect yourself at night, there are several options. Number 1. Insert a large paperclip or a bobby pin inside the keyhole. You can use a spare pair of keys if you have them. This way, you'll make it extremely hard, if not impossible, for the burglars to use the key dupes. Number 2. Barricading is an option. It can be a heavy chair, a bookshelf, you name it. I mean, why not if it makes you feel safe? If your door opens outwardly, a jammer could do a great job for you. A chair can be super handy. Secure it under the doorknob. It's not the most powerful security system, but at least it does its job. Binding the doorknobs or handles together can be an option too. A dummy security camera can protect you during the day and night. Again, burglars are not as fearless as they may seem. If you have a real CCTV, make sure the crooks don't deactivate it, so place it in some hard-to-get place. If you're ready to fork out some money for protection, then the motion sensor light is exactly what you need. Crooks like dim spots, and once they approach your place, they'll be frightened off by the bright light. This solution works as long as the burglars know you're home. In case they're sure you're away, it's way less efficient. TV and radio timers are another trick. With their help, you can imitate your home even if you're not. A perfect match for the motion sensor light. This trick can help outsmart some burglars, but again, it doesn't give a 100% guarantee. Some of them aren't afraid to break in, even if the TV's on. What about live alarm systems? This can be real or fake too. I'm talking about dogs. Remember the trick with the boots? You can do the same with a dog if you don't have one. Leave a large bowl on the porch, but make sure it all looks real. I mean, the bowl should not look untouched and brand new. Hey, do you know all your neighbors? If not, it's high time you baked some cookies and visited them to know them better. First, the crooks don't really like to operate in areas where few people know each other and care for each other. This way, their chances of being spotted and reported are extremely high. So, a sort of neighborhood watch is a perfect way to protect your house. And who knows, find new friends.
Did you know that every 15 seconds a home burglary occurs in the United States? This means that approximately 4,800 burglaries happen every day, and the police can only solve 13% of all the reported cases. So yeah, home security is nothing to be joked about, and so I won't. But still, don't worry. It's not like you need to turn your house into a fortress to feel safe. There are a great number of things you can do to keep the bad people out of your house and keep your valuables safe without breaking the bank. First things first, homes without a security system are 300% more likely to be broken into and burglarized, so you should definitely consider setting up one. However, there are many different types of security systems out there. That's why it can get overwhelming to choose the best one for your specific needs, desired level of protection, and budget. Yet again, it all comes down to two options: professional installations and DIY installations. Let's go through both of them together. Professional installed systems require professional monitoring and usually have contracts that are likely long-term. Professional systems come with fees. However, companies usually require lower upfront equipment costs since they will spread the cost throughout the course of your contract. Once you decide on a professional installation, the company will first schedule an appointment with one of their experienced technicians who can conduct a security assessment and explain all your options to you. And as long as your contract is valid, you can report any problems you have with the system to them so they can make sure the equipment works correctly. All in all, you should pick professionally installed security systems if you want to put up your feet and relax instead of watching long hours of tutorial videos or reading pages of manuals. Still, professionally installed security systems may not work for you, especially if you're a renter, due to the contract commitment conditions. Or maybe you're not a renter, but you simply have budget limitations. That's where DIY installations come in handy. The greatest thing about DIY systems is that while the average monitoring price is around $50 per month on professionally installed systems, it is around $28 a month on DIY ones. Plus, there are no installation fees with DIY systems either. Yet again, you should expect higher upfront equipment costs if you're going to pick this option. And there's also the fact that DIY home security systems come with the risks of improper equipment placement and missing security vulnerabilities a pro would catch. At the end of the day, the most important thing you need to do before choosing a system is evaluate the needs of your neighborhood as well as your house. Did you know that 34% of burglars simply use the front door when breaking into a home? That means if your door is not strong and secure enough, you're basically inviting the burglars in. So, setting up security systems is not enough. You need to inspect all your exterior doors too. Make sure the door frames are strong and the hinges are protected. You can always use door reinforcement kits to add extra protection. If your door has a mail slot, don't forget to check if it's possible for someone to reach through it to unlock the door. When moving into a house or an apartment that was previously occupied by someone else, change the door locks. This is the easiest way to ensure that no stranger can just walk into your house using the keys. One other way to boost security for your door is to use wireless doorbell cameras. This one from Amazon is extremely user-friendly. It's 100% wireless, it has a built-in rechargeable battery that can last 1 to 2 months, so you won't have to charge those too often. You can track the battery situation from the phone app. It also has motion detection technology and super night vision, and you don't need to worry about the weather conditions because it's also waterproof. By the way, don't forget about the sliding glass doors. You can use a window bar or dowel in the track to keep them from being forced open. Or you can add a door sensor or glass break sensor to get alerted if and when someone is tampering with them. We're getting into the very basics of home security now. The percentage of burglars entering a home through a window is as high as 23%. The main reason for that is because most of the time, people forget to lock their windows. Yet again, burglars can always break the glass. If you don't want that to happen, you can try reinforcing the glass with window security film, adding window bars, or installing window sensors. If none of that is possible, you can also plant prickly bushes under the first floor windows to discourage burglars from choosing your house to break in. Now, what's the difference between an actor and a burglar? Burglars don't like to be in the spotlight. That's why having outdoor lighting is to your advantage. Lights should be placed around your front and backyards, along pathways, and near the garage. To make your outdoor security lights more effective, you can use motion-activated ones. Take this one for example. It's solar-powered, so it'll help you save energy. But that doesn't mean you won't have any light once the clouds cover the sky. It's able to run 4 to 5 nights on rainy days. Also, don't allow the burglars to play hide-and-seek. While trees and shrubs may make your home look more beautiful, they also provide a convenient hiding spot for burglars. That's why you should trim down trees and plants, at least the ones close to your house that could be used for cover. Choose smaller flowers and bushes instead, so that burglars don't have a hiding spot to wait for you to leave your home. The same thing goes for any lock gates, sheds, or other outdoor buildings you have. Make sure those places are locked. Burglars can use stools and ladders to climb in from the windows too, so don't tempt them by leaving one outside. Now this one goes without saying, but I will anyway. Lock the garage. Even if there's no access to your home through there, it's likely that you still have plenty of valuable stuff stored in there that burglars might be interested in. It's also wise to store your garage door opener inside your house rather than leave it in your car. This way, you'll be preventing burglars from easily taking it. If you use a security code to open your garage, then keep it confidential and avoid entering it in front of other people, including neighbors. Some neighbors, well, you just don't know. Installing a driveway alarm will also help secure the garage. Now these days, not just burglars but porch pirates, aka package thieves, are a big problem too. Last year, almost 1 in 7 Americans fell victim to them. This is where security cameras prove to be useful. First of all, they work as a deterrent, And secondly, if someone were to really steal your package, you'd be able to identify them thanks to the security footage. If you can't spare some money to get a good security camera for the time being, you can opt for a fake one. They're a lot cheaper, and they will help make your home look more secure than it actually is. This one is worth considering if you're searching the market. It contains a flashing light, which makes it look as realistic as it gets. Now, last but not least, having a safe wouldn't hurt. And don't worry, it doesn't have to be one of those uncrackable giant titanium ones in the heist movies, like Ocean's 23. Burglars may still be able to break into your house despite all the precautions. So, you still need to make sure your valuables are protected at all times. You can hide all things important from your expensive jewelry to your vital documents in there just to be extra safe. If you're going to get yourself one, make sure it is fire-resistant, waterproof, and heavy enough that a thief can't pick it up and walk away with it. As they say, better safe than sorry.
You turn on the faucet in the kitchen sink when suddenly you hear a loud creak from below. Alarmed, you quickly turn off the water, but the creak repeats, this time from somewhere to your left. You tiptoe to the door, careful not to make a sound, when the entire house starts shaking and groaning. Terrified, you run outside, and just as you turn around in your front yard, you see your lovely home fall apart. You walk to the pile of debris that used to be your house and inspect it to find out what could have happened. And then you see it, a giant swarm of insects flying over the crumbling remains. And you remember, you've seen them in and out of your home for years, but didn't pay attention. If you had, you would have known that they were flying carpenter ants, and your house had been in danger for a long time. Carpenter ants only fly for a short period of time in late spring or early summer, when the weather conditions are good enough. It's their mating season. At this time, they fly in swarms around the house and are most visible. During the rest of the year, they behave almost like normal ants, hiding inside the holes and nooks of the house. And I say almost because they do one thing that's harmful to you. They basically eat your home from the inside. Carpenter ants, as the name implies, like wood a lot. Moist or rotting wood is their first choice. It's easier to chew through to make their tunnels. But if they encounter a good and sturdy piece of wood, they won't stop either. It'll just hold them for a bit longer. As the tunnel system grows, more ants appear from the eggs their queen lays her entire life. And after a few years, the colony consists of thousands, if not millions, of ants, while your house looks like a piece of cheese, with you none the wiser. When the flying ants appear, it's a sign that the colony has already grown to an enormous size, and your home is in grave danger. Most likely, there's a whole ant palace underneath your house, and within all its wooden parts, from walls to the roof. Just a few years more, and the structural damage will become too much, leading to disaster. So if you see swarms of flying insects inside your home, call pest control immediately. The bullet ant is the largest of all the ant species. Still, despite being the biggest, they grow to no larger than the size of a penny. The bullet ant is most likely to be found in countries such as Nicaragua and Paraguay, deep within the rainforests. It might be small, but it has a big bite. The bite of a bullet ant is up to 30 times more painful than the sting of a wasp or a bee. Locals sometimes refer to the small insect as the 24-hour ant, because you'll experience an entire day of discomfort after their bite. Despite the unpleasant feeling, the bite of a bullet ant isn't too dangerous and should heal within a week. These ants have a peculiar habit that might make it easy to avoid their powerful bite. Bullet ants release a strong and disgusting stench to drive away predators. So, if you ever find yourself trekking through the rainforest and smell an intensely unpleasant odor, run. There are just shy of 300 different species of fire ants all across the world. All the species have the same powerful bite. They're tiny insects who travel in large colonies and have a distinct light brown color, almost red. Fire ants are most commonly found in the United States and are attracted to food. They tend to crash a lot of picnics that they're not invited to. Fire ant bites are incredibly itchy, but not very dangerous. Running the bites under some cold water should help to soothe the itchiness, and the bite should go away in a week or so. If you have a more severe reaction than itchiness, make sure to seek urgent advice from your doctor. Now, velvet ants aren't ants at all. They're a kind of wingless wasp that just looks a lot like ants. These bugs don't form large colonies and usually live alone, hiding in tall grass. This behavior has given them another nickname, cow ants, because when a cow is grazing nearby, it might step on a velvet ant and get a painful bite in return. Humans also get bitten sometimes, especially if they walk barefoot. Velvet ants are venomous, but their venom is less potent than that of bees, so it's not really dangerous. Still, the pain from such a bite is serious, and if you want to squash this bug, good luck. They have an unusually tough carapace that protects them from other stinging insects and even birds. Termites are the scare of all things wooden, and of ants too. When ants encroach on their territory, termites go out of their notorious mounds and give back more than they receive. The insects are basically blind, but their heads are equipped with natural spitfire. They spit acid at their foes, driving them away quicker than they got there. Don't even think of getting your fingers in the way of that acidic stream. It's a really unpleasant feeling. Speaking of spitting, bombardier beetles are the best at that. The look of this bug is menacing enough itself, but when it feels threatened, it will give out a loud pop and spray the enemy with boiling hot liquid. There's a chamber inside the bug's belly that keeps two substances for that. When they mix before spraying, they react with each other and quickly get really hot. Even birds are in big trouble if they get into the beetle's way, and other insects simply have no chance against it. Tarantula hawks are long, thin insects with beautiful rust-colored wings and yellow antennae. They tend to be found in rainforests across Asia, America, and Africa. They like to live alone and make their homes by burrowing into the ground. If you ever come across a tarantula hawk, be sure to move away very slowly. These insects only attack if they sense a threat. Tarantula hawks are thought to have one of the most painful stings in the world. The pain of the tarantula hawk sting is incredibly intense and lasts for 3 to 4 minutes. After these minutes have passed, the sting won't require any urgent care and should heal on its own. The yellow jacket is a dangerous species of wasp that can be found all over the world. They're named for their distinctive yellow and black patterns. The yellow is a striking neon color, much brighter than a normal wasp. Yellow jackets live in large colonies and build their nests in trees, bushes, and even underground. If you come across a yellow jacket nest, move away slowly and be careful not to threaten or irritate the wasps. The sting of a yellow jacket definitely isn't a pleasant feeling. The Japanese hornet is the largest species of hornet in the world. The Japanese hornets have a yellow and black striped pattern, just like the yellow jacket. What makes them distinguishable from bees and wasps is their size and shape. The Japanese hornet is much larger and thinner than a bumblebee, and much longer than a wasp. These hornets, of course, live in Japan, where they travel in colonies of up to 700 members. People who have previously been stung by the Japanese hornet often say it's like being struck by a red-hot poker. If you're ever unfortunate enough to be stung by one of these insects, immediately call for help. And while you wait for the doctors, wash the sting with cold water. Asian giant hornets live mostly in Asian countries, but they were reported in North America in 2019. These beasts are big, yellow, and vicious. It's impossible to confuse a giant hornet with any other bee or wasp. They are much larger and a lot more aggressive. But the worst thing about them is their stinger, which is more than 3 times longer than that of a honeybee. The stinger contains a really potent venom, and several stings from an Asian giant hornet can bring down even a large animal, and human too. And if that wasn't enough, these creatures can even spray their venom, aiming at the eyes. Needless to say, that's an unforgettable experience. Okay, let's admit it, all centipedes are terrifying, and perhaps one of the most horrible species is a Texas red-headed centipede. First of all, it looks like it's ascended from your deepest, darkest nightmares. A black-sectioned body, dozens of yellowish legs that look more like claws, and a red head with 2 long prongs. That's a picture enough to make me run for it in a split second. Being pretty large, these crawlers have a voracious appetite, munching on toads, lizards, and an occasional rat. Sometimes, when desperate, they can even catch a bat right in the middle of a flight. And of course, red-headed centipedes are venomous, fitting for such an appearance. Luckily, they're not interested in humans, and that's mutual.
Hey there, car owners. Gee, do I have an important message for you? You see, our cars are like our trusty sidekicks, always by our side, even in the most public places. But sometimes we come back to find unexpected surprises waiting for us. Try to imagine yourself strolling up to your four-wheeled companion, and there it is. A flyer, taunting you from under the wiper. Or, heaven forbid, a parking ticket just begging for your attention on the windshield. We've all been there, right? Well, hold on to your steering wheels because authorities have a brand new tip for you. And it's a real gem. If you see something on your car that doesn't belong, don't remove it with your bare hand. Intrigued? You see, police forces have been keeping a watchful eye on all things car-related, and they're not just about catching speedsters and enforcing traffic rules. They've got our backs when it comes to unveiling the latest tricks of the trade. Take Arlington, Virginia, for example. The authorities there recently noticed a spike in driver's side airbag thefts. To combat this madness, the police advised folks to park in well-lit areas, lock their vehicles, stash away their valuables, and why not throw in a steering wheel locking device for good measure? Some car thieves have also discovered a new superpower, using their smartphone cameras to peek into your car. It's like they have X-ray vision or something. These sneaky people can bypass the privacy tint in your car windows and get a clear view of your treasures, all without even taking a photo. Smartphones these days, huh? In response, authorities launched a "Stow It, Don't Show It" campaign, reminding everyone to remove their valuables from sight, or, at the very least, stash them away. But wait, there's more. Officers want us to be extra cautious about a new threat lurking around our vehicles. You know how it goes. Leaves, litter, and leaflets often find their way onto our beloved cars. Usually, we'd think nothing of it and simply give our vehicles a quick clean before zooming off. However, you should think twice before reaching out with your bare hands. Even if it's just to grab a seemingly innocent piece of trash. Why all the fuss, you might wonder? Well, let's take a peek at an incident that unfolded in Houston, Texas. Picture this. One woman, fresh from celebrating her birthday at a local restaurant, heads back to her car, only to find a napkin sticking out of her car door handle. Now, at first, she didn't think much of it, and casually removed the napkin, thinking it's just some random trash. But as it turns out, things then took a crazy turn. Not long after handling that suspiciously placed napkin, she started feeling some tingling in her fingertips, and before she knew it, her whole arm joins the tingle party, leaving her feeling a bit numb. She got all lightheaded and even struggled to breathe. Being a responsible person, her husband dialed up 911 in a jiffy. Off she went to the hospital, racing against time to figure out what in the world caused this bizarre health roller coaster. After a seemingly eternal 6.5 hours, the doctors finally diagnosed her with acute poisoning from an unknown substance. They couldn't pinpoint the exact nature of the substance because the woman only had a tiny amount in her system. But even that tiny amount was enough to make her feel like she just hopped on the wildest ride at the amusement park. Just imagine if she had wrapped that napkin around her entire hand. Yikes. One of her doctors suggested that this whole napkin incident might have been an attempted kidnapping targeting her car. Wait, what? A kidnapping involving a napkin and a car door? It's like a bad script for a low-budget comedy film. But here's where things get really intriguing. The local police department, in their noble quest to solve this mystery, revealed that they didn't receive any reports of similar incidents involving car doors and napkins. I guess that prankster genius didn't strike again, or at least not yet. However, they do confirm that the woman's experience and symptoms align with other cases of poisoning. Of course, there are many other strategies to help keep both you and your car safe. Like when it comes to parking, it's all about that prime spot. Thankfully, specialists have some tips that will make your parking game strong and keep those pesky thieves at bay. First things first, if you're lucky enough to have a garage, park your precious vehicle in there at all times. But if you're out and about, it's advised that you find a well-lit and open area to park. You want your ride to be in the spotlight, not hiding in the shadows where mischief could be lurking. Now, here's a nifty little nugget of advice straight from the mouth of an ex-burglar. This guy knows the tricks of the trade. When you park, turn those wheels into the curb. I know it sounds weird, but trust me, it's worth it. By doing this, you're making life harder for those pesky intruders. They'll have to do some fancy maneuvering just to get away, and ain't nobody got time for that. And hey, here's an extra bonus tip for you. Try to find a car park that has reached the Parkmark standard. These parking locations have passed a police risk assessment, so you know they're legit. With these simple tips, you'll be parking like a pro in no time. These days, there's still a sneaky way thieves can get their hands on your ride, and it involves your beloved key. So, let's play it safe, shall we? First things first, keep those keys hidden away. When you're home, make sure they're out of sight and far from prying eyes. You wouldn't want any thieves playing fishing games with sticks and hooks through your letterbox, snatching your keys. Now let's talk about keyless entry. You know, those fancy cars that unlock themselves with a wave of the key nearby? Well, if you have to push a button on your key to open your car, you don't have a keyless entry. No worries though, we'll cover that too. Picture this. You're going about your day, minding your own business, when suddenly a crafty thief comes along with a little device. This sneaky gadget tricks your car into thinking your key is right there, unlocking it faster than you can imagine. They can even start the engine and drive off into the sunset with your beloved vehicle. Believe it or not, these pesky thieves only need to be a few meters away from your car key to capture its signal. That means they can work their magic even if your key is chilling inside your home, safe and sound. Fear not, because there are a few tips to keep your keyless entry car as secure as a fortress. When you're at home, keep that precious key and its spare far, far away from your vehicle. Maybe put them in a screened pouch or a fancy schmancy Faraday bag to block any signals from escaping. Think of it as giving your key a cozy little invisible shield to protect it from those sneaky signal-sniffing thieves. Here's another pro tip. If you ever decide to adopt a second-hand car into your loving car family, give those keys a little makeover. Reprogramming them will ensure that any old signals or sneaky surprises from the previous owner are wiped clean. To make sure your car is always safe, we also need to cover this not-so-fun subject: illegal tow trucks. Those sneaky thieves think they can snatch your precious wheels right off the street. Here are some tips on how to stay one step ahead of these parking lot pirates. First things first, keep an eye out for any tow-away crew that seems a bit fishy. You know, the ones who aren't sporting any fancy logos on their truck or who forgot to put on their snazzy uniforms. If something feels off, don't hesitate to report them pronto. Now, I know what you're thinking, but what if I'm wrong and it turns out to be a false alarm? We all should be about good faith, and nobody should blame you for a moment if it turns out to be a false alarm. Better safe than sorry, right?
That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the bright side.